Bowl game at Aloha Stadium in Honolulu. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf, and the sun is setting on our season, and we are so happy to have had you with us this season, and we are inviting you to join us today, and a very special welcome to you people in the East who have been hit so hard by this past weekend's winter storm. Well, 86 of the NFL's finest will be here today, 43 for the American Conference, 43 for the National Conference. They were voted here by the players, their peers, and by the fans, and by the coaches. And the coaches, of course, are selected. They came within one step of going to the Super Bowl. That would be Bill Cowher, the Pittsburgh Steelers, coaching the American Conference, and Barry Switzer, he will coach the National Conference, of course, from the Dallas Cowboys. The reward, well, incentive would be a $10,000 incentive, because $20,000 Al to the winners, $10,000 to the losers. But this isn't about that. This is about proving yourself in front of your peers and playing with a lot of pride. They've had a lot of fun, but all of a sudden they got to play right now.
Great shirt, by the way. I love your
hat. Oh, yeah, well, I like yours too. What happened to Dan?
I don't know. Something happened. Not enough material. We took it all. You know, I look at this, Frank, as a fans game. It's a team concept. It's the AFC against the NFC. But it's a day for the individual stars. The NFC has the established stars. We'll see Steve Young and Troy Aikman and Warren Moon at quarterback and Barry Sanders at running back. But I'm really looking forward to the emerging stars, and two of them are on the AFC squad. One, Drew Bledsoe of New England, figures to play much of, if not all of, the second half. He'll become the youngest quarterback ever to play in a Pro Bowl. And also the rookie sensation from the Indianapolis Colts out of San Diego State, Marshall Faulk, will start at running back for the AFC. So it's a great day to sit back and just enjoy the great individual stars of the National Football League. And Dan, you played in 6 of these Pro Bowls. What's the attitude of a player coming into a game like this?
And by the way, I like my shirt better.
I
wore this on purpose. I tell you what, Al, it's such an honor to the players, because I think more than any other it means the most to you, because when you first get into this league, you dream about the Pro Bowl. The majority of the votes come from the coaches and from the players, and that's why it means so much. And then you finally get here and you get to rub shoulders and be in the locker room with guys that you have competed against during your first couple of seasons in this league. But then I don't think it really dawns on you that you have to play a football game until you get here to Aloha Stadium on Sunday morning. And then all of a sudden you're looking across the field, and there's Bruce Smith, or there's Charles Haley, and he's trying to get to your quarterback. Or if you're a receiver, there's Deion Sanders, and you got to get by him to get open. There's only one way to play a football game, and that is to either hit or get hit. And these are competitors, and believe me, today, they would rather hit.
And here we go with the AFC in red and white. Kicking off to the NFC, adorned in blue and white, John Carney of the San Diego Chargers, the man who led the league in scoring this season, will kick off. There is Steve Tasker, who was named as the special teams representative for the AFC. Elbert Shelley is the special teams rep of the NFC squad. And you've got Mel Gray and Terrence Mathis back deep. Mel Gray, one of the great run-back men in the league from the Detroit Lions. And they kick it away from him and down to the 12-yard line to Terrence Mathis of the Atlanta Falcons, who had a fine year at wide receiver coming over from the Jets, and he brings it out to the 34-yard line. Kevin Green makes the tackle. Now, no man has ever won Super Bowl MVP and Pro Bowl player of the game in the same season. Steve Young has a shot with a good performance here today, coming off the spectacular performance in Miami a week ago. He has Barry Sanders and Jerome Bettis of the Rams behind him, Irvin of the Cowboys, Carter of the Vikings, and Novacek of the Cowboys, the tight end, and then Rofe, the two Cowboys, Newton and Stepnoski, McDaniel, and Lomas Brown, the interior 5. So Young and the NFC starting from the 34-yard line. The NFC holding the edge in this series, 14 games to 10, and Young to the air on first down, throws, and it's Chris Carter who caught 122 passes to establish a new NFL mark this season, making the grab. Rod Woodson with the coverage. Let's take a look at the defense. Bruce Smith, Michael Dean Perry, Cortez Kennedy of the Seahawks, Leslie O'Neal, who played last week in the Super Bowl. Then the 3 linebackers, Thomas, Seau in the middle, and Lloyd, the Steeler, on the outside. Woodson and McDaniel are the corners, and Eric Turner of the Browns and Carnell Lake of the Pittsburgh Steelers are the safeties. There are some different rules in effect, and we'll get to them as the game moves along. Please set the game clock
to 14:45. 14:45.
Larry Nemmers, right off the bat, the referee, indicating that the game clock was a little behind, and I guess that sort of typifies the tone prior to the game. Everybody having a good time here in Hawaii this week.
That's Jerry Jones in there now.
I don't know about that. Bill Cowher coaching the AFC. Though then again,
well, who knows, huh?
New sideline management for the Cowboys.
Yep, they're having a problem with the clock. And while they adjust that, the offense can have nobody in motion. There's no shifting. You have to use a tight end and 2 running backs as well. You can not only not have 3 receivers on one side, you can't have 3 regular wideouts. Defensively, you have to use the base 4-3, linebackers in a 2-point stance, and we'll get to the rest. All pass coverage is man-to-man. And on first down, they give it to Barry Sanders, and he escapes a tackle by Lake, and then Leslie O'Neal finally wraps him up after a gain of 4. There are also some blitzing restrictions as well, and only by outside linebackers and only in short yardage situations, i.e. 3rd and 2 or less, or 4th and 1, or in goal line situations.
You know, this is being monitored now by Assistant Director of Officiating Jack Reeder and Zeke Bratkowski. As we look at the special teams, they are actually looking at what happens on the field, and if somebody doesn't pay attention to those rules, they'll call the umpire 15-yard penalty.
Reeder the man in the middle, and here is Young on 2nd down and 6, throwing complete to Terrence Mathis at the 37-yard line of the AFC, tackled by Rod Woodson. And Steve Young looking as he looked last week in Miami on this first series.
Without a Jerry Rice.
Well, there's a tremendous advantage for some of these players that just came from the Super Bowl, especially a quarterback. And I think we'll see that in Steve Young today. His timing is still there. He's been throwing the football every day. He has just really extended his week by 1 season, while we have a lot of players in this game that haven't been in pads for 6 weeks. For them, it's a lot tougher adjustment.
Darrell Johnston, the fullback, goes next to nowhere. A gain of 1 to the 35-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
A real tough adjustment for the defensive secondary, because they are basically playing a 4-3. They can have a zone with a roll to the strong side, but those cornerbacks are not getting any kind of a bump and run. They have to play it straight away. It's a real load against some of the great receivers in this game today. And when you can't blitz, you can't pressure the quarterback, we should see a lot of yardage throwing the ball today.
2nd and 9 at the 35-yard line. Young on target again. The catch is made by Terrence Mathis of the Falcons. He's about 2 yards shy of the first down. 3rd and 2. Terry McDaniel with the coverage.
And I think that there's a feeling out process that is part of the beginning of every Pro Bowl, where you're out here and all of a sudden it dawns on you that this game is underway, and there really is only one way to play the game of football. And you're going to find out right away that no matter how much part of you would like to coast through this, the guy across from you or the person catching the football is going to elevate it and play this game a little faster. So watch this thing start to pick up as it moves along.
On 3rd and 2, Barry Sanders over the left side, and that's enough for a first down. It was a short 2 he needed, and he picked up 2.5 to the 25-yard line, tackled by Kennedy.
If you're curious as to where quarterback Steve Young is looking to the sidelines, he is getting the play called into his helmet from Ernie Zampese, who has been in the news recently saying that he finally would like to be considered for a head coaching job. He's going to apply for the Rams head coaching job. Longtime offensive coordinator with the Rams, Chargers, successful wherever he's been, and he is calling the plays for the NFC today.
In fact, Ernie Zampese is going to be interviewed by the Rams either tomorrow or Tuesday. And among those, there he is, among those also in consideration for that job, Rich Brooks, the Oregon coach, Terry Donahue, the UCLA coach, and Mike Ditka, who would like that job at this time. It remains to be seen who the coach of the Rams will be or where the Rams will be. Timeout call by the NFC. Came over from the Super Bowl and got in a little volleyball. And, well, you know that, well, Dion is getting ready for spring training, whether it comes or not.
Too bad Junior's so anemic looking, huh?
Yes.
Wasting away to nothing.
After a timeout, here's Young on first down, throwing into traffic, and it's incomplete to the 5-yard line. His new favorite target, Terrence Mathis, covered by Terry McDaniel. If you're wondering about Jerry Rice, he suffered a slightly separated shoulder in the Super Bowl. Came over here. He was named to the squad, would have been a starter, but he was a scratch.
That's really fine coverage by Terry McDaniel. You won't find anyone covers better man for man than he has over the years for the Raiders. He has nobody slowing up the receiver, no pressure on the quarterback. He times it out perfectly with the ball. Just a superb defensive play by Terry McDaniel.
2nd and 10, no score, opening drive of the game. The NFC at the AFC 25-yard line, and Barry Sanders, with his patented moves, turns nothing into something. A 4-yard pickup down to the 21-yard line. He's tackled by Greg Lloyd. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Still the best looking 4 yards in football.
Oh.
He is all by himself. I know that there are a lot of productive backs, and of course Emmitt Smith, the first one that comes to mind, but from an artistic presence in running the football, just look at the moves, the body control. Still the best description I ever heard of Barry Sanders. He runs forward, backward, and sideways all at once.
Did it for almost 2,000 yards too, coming up about 17 yards short.
There's a look at Ricky Waters. 3rd down and 6. Young throws. The catch is made by Moose Johnston, who takes it inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal. Seau and Woodson make the tackle. There is one fullback named to each squad. He's the guy. They use him basically as a blocking back, but as you know, he can catch the ball for Barry Switzer.
He caught 44 on the season for the Cowboys, and a lot of them in situations like this when you tend to try to get the coverage deep, and it was about a 3rd down and about 7, just threw it for about 4 yards, and he turned it upfield, picked up the 1st down. One thing he doesn't do, he does not drop it.
No. This is pretty amazing that Steve Young leading another drive.
Yeah, what a shock.
Yeah.
And he throws, and it's broken up at the last moment. The open man was Chris Carter, and Woodson had to get over in a hurry to knock it away. 2nd and goal.
Looked like Woodson could have intercepted that. The minute we're praising Steve Young, that's a ball that looked to me like Rod Woodson had a play on.
Well, he made a quick move back to the ball. Maybe he had a play on it, but he wanted to make certain he wasn't going to miss and give up 6 points.
Yeah, he chose to play Carter more than the football.
Made the right choice, too.
Excellent coverage by the best in the business as far as all around supporting the run, getting into coverage. Rod Woodson.
2nd down and goal. Here's Barry Sanders looking for room, finds nothing. Tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Greg Lloyd of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It'll be 3rd down and goal for the NFC. The AFC has not seen the football yet. 6 minutes into the game.
And one thing the AFC will probably not lose sight of, Brent Jones, the tight end for the 49ers, Steve Young's collaborator on 9 touchdown passes for the season, is in there wearing number 83, Dan. That's a seniority thing with Jay Novacek in the league a little longer. He got the 84 number, and Brent Jones has to go to 83.
Jones an 8-year guy, Novacek a 10-year guy.
3rd and goal.
Is this alive? Yes.
It was Bruce Smith who came across the line. We didn't hear a whistle, but Larry Nembers did stop the play, or one member of the officiating crew.
Normally that's that unabated to the quarterback. If you've got a direct line, they'll whistle it dead.
Defense, offside, number 96, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Cortez Kennedy is the man they flagged.
Big Tez playing in his 4th Pro Bowl in his 5-year NFL career, and really just a heck of a guy to be around. And it's tough to get up and go to work every day on teams that aren't winning, and they've struggled a little bit out in Seattle, but Cortez Kennedy every year in and out turns in another Pro Bowl year.
So the ball is at the 5. It's 3rd and goal. This is the 12th play of the opening drive of the game. And Young improvising throws. It's tipped and it's incomplete. He was looking for his teammate. Brent Jones Mathis was also in the neighborhood, and the NFC will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Okay, that's pretty good coverage. When you can't do any dealing at the line of scrimmage, you can't do anything in terms of blitzing, you can't chuck the receivers, although you can do it in a situation down near the goal line. But it's still good defensive play on the part of the secondary of the NFC, and why not? They're some of the finest around. There was a man open. There's no question about that. Mathis could have had it.
Well, one of those guys wasn't where he was supposed to be. Brent Jones and Mathis were directly in front of one another. Mathis front, Jones in the back, and that's a blown pattern by somebody.
They don't draw it up that way, do they?
No.
Another flag here. This would have been a 23-yard field goal attempt by Fuad Reveiz of the Minnesota Vikings.
Almost looked like Steve Young was trying to get it over the head of Mathis to his own guy, Brent Jones.
False start, offense, number 93, 5 yards, still 4th down.
That's Brent Jones, and this will make it a 28-yard field goal attempt now for Fuad Reveiz. Reveiz ended the season with 28 consecutive field goals, and he's one shy of the record held by John Carney, who just happens to be on the other side of the field, so he'll begin next season with a chance to tie and break it. 28-yarder is perfect.
Fuad wants to know how come the Pro Bowl kicks don't count.
Yeah. A drive that consumes 6 minutes and 55 seconds, and the NFC takes a 3-0 lead. Today, Leslie, what you got for us?
Thanks, Alan. With one of the great receivers of all time and a freshman congressman from Oklahoma. Congratulations, Steve Largent. You played in many Pro Bowls. Well, what's your favorite memory of a Pro Bowl?
I think getting to play with my favorite non-Seahawk quarterback, Dan Fouts, one time.
Oh, that had to be a memory. What about for you? Is it more difficult to please the constituents or football fans?
Depends on what your one-loss record in both arenas.
Both tough. Yeah. Congratulations, Steve. Back to you, Al.
Okay, Leslie, Steve Largent, adorned with the lei here in Hawaii on a cloudy afternoon. We've yet to see the sun, but it appears to be trying to break through as the kick comes down to the 13-yard line, and Marshall Faulk of the Indianapolis Colts, a great-looking rookie. In fact, the only rookie named to either squad is out of bounds up at the 37-yard line, and the smiling John Elway comes in to take over. We also have a flag down on the run back.
I just said to Dan, Al, when we were in commercial, I don't think I've ever seen in any Pro Bowl as fine a collection of return men as we have here today.
Elway, the QB, Marshall Faulk, the rookie, starting at running back with Natron Means. Reed and Brown are the wideouts, and Ben Coates of the Patriots is the tight end. And the AFC offensive line will feature 2 Dolphins on the left side, Webb and Sims, then 2 Steelers at center and right guard, Dawson and Love, and the Patriot Armstrong at right tackle.
Did you see John Elway when he went out onto the field? Look at this. One of his teammates put a slap me sign on his jersey. He has no idea that it's there.
It could have been anything on that sign, too.
Bruce Armstrong, the tackle from the Patriots, goes over and takes it off. Does him a favor.
Penalty was on the AFC. And here is Natron Means taking it out to the 20-yard line. The San Diego Charger running back picks up 7. He's tackled by Merton Hanks. Here's the starting defense for the NFC. Again, they have to play the base 4-3. We'll talk about Haley and whether he'll retire or not, with Randall, Lett, and Fuller up front. Then the linebackers are Harvey, Spielman of the Lions in the middle, and the Packer Bryce Pop on the outside. Deion Sanders, Aeneas Williams of Phoenix, Woodson, and Hanks in the secondary. So 2 49ers back there, Sanders and Hanks, with Tim McDonald coming off the bench. On 2nd and 3, Elway gets bumped, and they do a little bit more than slap him as Leon Lett gets there, and they say the play is whistled dead at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, that was a quick whistle as Lett had John Elway in a bear hug, and he was about ready to slam dunk him.
Loss of 5, 3rd and 8. Dan Marino was voted a starter for the AFC, would have been the starting quarterback, but some question as to whether Dan will undergo further surgery. Suffered the Achilles rupture last year and then came back and had a spectacular season, but he is out of the Pro Bowl. It's the 8th time, in fact, Marino has been named to the Pro Bowl, but he's played in just 2. On 3rd and 8, the pass is incomplete up at the 20-yard line as contact is made. Leroy Horde was the intended receiver, and he was popped by Bryce Pop. And let's get a word from Lynn Swan.
Thank you, Al. Rod, that was a good play you made down in the goal line, but I got to ask you, all the teams are talking about coaching changes. Your coach in the defensive secondary goes to the Carolinas. How's that going to affect the Steelers?
Yeah, I really don't think it has a big effect. I think Dick LeBeau understands the system. Marv definitely understands it. Bill understands it. And, you know, our whole defensive coaching staff understands the whole thing. I think they're a big part in implementing what we accomplished this year. So hopefully we won't lose a whole lot.
In this Pro Bowl, take a couple of series before everybody gets keyed up and a little more competitive?
Oh, yeah, you got to get warmed up. A little slippery out here, a little humid, and you try to take your time, ease your way into it, and by the second half, we're full tilt almost.
All right, we'll have some fun.
Oh, definitely going to try to, Glenn.
Thank you, Rod.
Well, defensively, the AFC kind of sat back and watched the NFC come down the field. Defensively, the NFC got this thing started the right way. A sack, a hard hit by Pop, and they right now you'd have to say the NFC is a little more into this game than their counterparts from the other conference.
They lead 3-0, and the AFC has just assessed a delay of game penalty as the special teams unit comes out. Now Rick Tootin of the Seattle Seahawks boots one in the direction of Mel Gray, and he boots it out of bounds, and it's caught there and spiked by Barry Switzer. Only in the Pro Bowl. Keep it, Barry.
Welcome to a special edition of another Monday Night Football 25th anniversary moment brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. In October of 1990, Viking wide receiver Chris Carter returned to Philadelphia and scored a pair of touchdowns against his former teammates.
On the 22 on 2nd and 7, going deep for Chris Carter, and the former Eagle is out in front, and Chris Carter is having every dream come true. Here on ABC. The NFC leading 3-0. They have it at their own 49, and the big bruising back Jerome Bettis is bunched up at the line of scrimmage and pushed back by Lloyd and Brian Cox, among others. Brian into it.
Bettis, 1,000-yard rusher for the Rams this past season. And a good look at one of the best in the business, Kevin Green, for a long time.
2nd down and 10 for the NFC at the 49-yard line with 6 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Steve Young fires, and it's caught despite the fact Chris Carter had to hold up. A flag is down. He goes in for the touchdown for the moment, but a marker is down at the 27-yard line.
Well, that marker is going to be interference against the AFC. A total mug job out on the field, but Chris Carter.
Interference, number 36, penalty is refused, touchdown.
Terry McDaniel all over Carter, but it makes no difference, and that's one of the big pluses when you're 6'3", 200 pounds, and one of the most physical receivers in the National Football League. Watch the way that Chris Carter, this is just a simple post pattern, not even much of a move to the outside.
Boy, great concentration on his part.
And somehow he stays on his feet and glides in, and all of a sudden the AFC, which has been napping at the beginning of this ball game, is going to find themselves down 10-0.
Boy, it's hard to believe that Buddy Ryan waived him 3 years ago. He had 122 receptions from Warren Moon this past season to lead the league and has turned into one of the outstanding receivers in the game.
Remember the rap on Carter? All he could do was run that little fade into the corner of the end zone and out-jump somebody for the ball.
All he did was catch touchdowns.
Yeah.
Now,
of course, coming from Ohio State doesn't help your pedigree as far as being a receiver.
Almost like Michigan.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly a place you think of for great receivers, but Chris Carter is doing a lot to change that.
Every point in the game thus far scored by a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah, cheap shot, Frank.
10-0. Tomorrow night, an all-new coach with Gerald McRaney guesting as the oldest recruit ever at Minnesota State. Craig T. Nelson, as always, starring in Coach tomorrow night right here on ABC.
Well, you want some action, try that Under Siege. It's nonstop.
Tommy Lee Jones, it plays a good bad guy. There is such a thing.
The AFC is under siege early in the first quarter here as they trail 10-0, and this is Marshall Faulk going back to get the kick from Reves. And he is run out of bounds up at the 29-yard line. Our coverage of the Pro Bowl is being brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth and your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Southwest Airlines is just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low fare airline, and Speed Stick by Menon. Like you, it never quits. Cloudy. It was raining this morning here in Honolulu. It's been beautiful this week, but cloudy today. It's helped to cool things off a little bit, and the players like that. It can be oppressive with the sun beating down on this AstroTurf at this time of day. On first down, Elway under pressure again, and there's no such thing as intentional grounding in this game. William Fuller applied the pressure. You'd see a flag during the regular season, but not during the Pro Bowl. And let's get a word from Chris Carter with Leslie Visser.
Al, of the early heroes of the game. Congratulations, Chris. What happened on that play?
I always run a skinny 8. We've been working on it all weekend. Just thank God. God's put me in a position where I can be successful. It's been a dynamic year for me, and this is, really nice to be here with all the guys going to make a play to help.
You have a great quarterback in Warren Moon. Is
Yeah.
it pretty good to take a pass from Steve Young?
Oh, it is nice. The ball's spinning the other way, though, so sometimes it's hard to pick up, but he put it right in the seam where they couldn't get it. It was nice. Nice play for us.
So far, pretty impressive. Chris, back to you, Al.
Thank you, Leslie. As Leroy Horde picks up about 4. It's the second consecutive year in which Chris Carter has scored a touchdown in the Pro Bowl.
Well, he's got a point, too. It is a little difficult for a receiver if he's not used to the reverse spin that the left-hander Steve Young puts on it. And we were talking to him yesterday when we came out for the workout, and they got some problems with it. And there's a look at Warren Moon. Great season. Unfortunately, had to finish with a bad knee.
Into each life, a little rain must fall.
If that's the toughest thing they got to put up with, they'll live through it.
Elway on 3rd and 6 throws, and that's incomplete. A little miscommunication there, and Elway winds up on his back.
John's been getting pummeled here at the start of this ball game.
John's, this is a Pro Bowl. What's supposed to be this way?
He's already been sacked. He's been knocked down a couple times.
And slapped.
And yeah, that's you wonder if that was Drew Bledsoe that put that slap me on the back of Elway's jersey, wanting to get into this ball game early. Take a look at this. Pressure right up the middle.
Ooh, Stubblefield.
Yep, Dana Stubblefield. And while that's not a vicious blow to John Elway, he fell kind of awkwardly and not too thrilled.
Rick Tootin of the Seahawks now to kick, and Mill Gray back to accept it, but Tootin sends it over to the sideline. Still, Gray is able to make the catch inbounds at the 21-yard line and run it back to the 28. It's been all NFC thus far with 4:47 to go in the opening quarter. 10-0. Well, you saw that sign on Elway's back when he came into the game. Our cameras are everywhere. That is Jeff Hostetler. Look at him.
I speculated it might be Drew Bledsoe. It was Hostetler.
Yep.
And John Elway walks out for the very first play of the AFC series with a slap me. And look who we have here, the victim.
I have him right here, John. We heard there was Hostetler who put that sign on your back that said slap me. Is that true?
I don't know. I've got to find out. I haven't got to the bottom of that yet, but it was probably Haas.
Well, it looked like the first couple of series, the guys on the NFC side took that sign seriously.
It sure looks like they have. Hopefully I can get out of the way this next one.
You've got a new coach coming into Denver, Mike Shanahan. You worked with him before. Tell me how you think that's going to affect your team.
Well, I think there's no question. I think it's going to make us a better football team. I think Mike Shanahan's a great coach, and he proved that this year with the Niners and the way they ran their offense. So I'm really looking forward to it and look forward to great things in Denver.
What do you think might be some of the immediate changes he'll make in the ball club?
Well, I think the first thing he's going to do is to start on defense and work there and try to get better there, and then kind of continue to work on offense and get us better there. But I think his starting point will probably be on the defensive side.
John, good luck. Thank you very much.
Okay, Lynn, we saw Chris Carter catch a pass for 15 yards, and now Barry Sanders a yard on the ground out to the 44-yard line. 2nd and 9, 4:10 to go. First quarter, 10-0 NFC.
Not like John Elway is terribly unfamiliar with Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan at Denver before he went to the Raiders, before he went to the 49ers. He's returning home, so to speak. Most sought after, perhaps, of all the assistant coaches that stepped up. And boy, it's been musical chairs for coaches.
2nd and 9 from the 44-yard line. Steve Young, pump fakes, going deep. Good coverage, though, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver, Terrence Mathis, and Rod Woodson staying with him step for step. Mathis emerging this year. Terrence, a real nondescript career with the New York Jets until this point, as the NFC, you can see they're dominating this one thus far. But Terrence Mathis in triple figures in receptions this year.
Was moving to Atlanta, where that's the name of the game. Put it in the air.
Third down, 9.
This is the type of situation that if this was a regular season game or something in the playoffs, Steve Young always a threat to take off and run with the football. In this type of a game, knowing Steve, I'm not sure it'd be a lot different.
Young throws underneath. The catch is made by Barry Sanders, but he is stopped at the 46-yard line, so the AFC is able to hold them here. Pepper Johnson of the Cleveland Browns, the former New York Giant, made the tackle, and the NFC is forced to punt.
Bruce Smith was the guy that flushed Steve Young out and forced him to get outside.
Pepper, the need player for the AFC. And we discussed that with Jeff Cower, and he said what a great year that Pepper Johnson has had. And of course, you would know, being in that Central Division of the AFC and having to face the Cleveland Browns twice.
Reggie Roby, the longtime Dolphin, went to Washington, and he's a familiar Pro Bowl performer. Eric Metcalf of the Cleveland Browns is back at the 10-yard line to take the punt. And Metcalf calls for and makes the fair catch at the 12-yard line. The AFC will begin its next drive from there. And Barry Switzer in the cool zone.
Talking to William Rofe, going, hey, Bill, how many years you got left on that contract down there in New Orleans? You'd look good in the stars.
Bruce Smith off another great season for the Bills. A disappointing one, however, in not returning to the Super Bowl. Bruce had a fine year.
Well, Rofe is under contract. Lest anybody think we're serious about that particular situation, there are coaches, though, who come over, as the 49ers did last year, and begin the recruiting process. And the Niners started their recruitment of Ken Norton last year in this game.
Yeah, and Richard Dent was here, and George Seifert had a chance to visit with him and get to know him.
It's a new playing field in the NFL.
From the 12-yard line, here's Elway under pressure again, and it's knocked down as Wayne Martin of the New Orleans Saints knocks it down, and nobody up front doing the job protecting John Elway to this point.
Well, nobody blocking Charles Haley, that's for sure.
John's starting to think this is the first part of his Denver Broncos season. Here comes Charles Haley, and of course a lot has been said about Charles Haley. Will he be back? Will he not be back? Al and I had a good talk with him yesterday, or we had a good listen. I better put it that way. We asked him straight out. I said, what are you going to do? And he said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he took my Hall of Fame ring off, and he looked at it. I said, Charles, you're not going to get one of those if you quit now.
And he said, I want one of those. 2nd down and 10, as this is Natron Means of the Chargers. And he stays inbounds and is finally out of bounds at the 47 of the NFC. The play of the game thus far, Leroy Horde and Gary Zimmerman helping to string him.
Well, I do marvel how a 250-pounder can accelerate like that. We talked about it in the Super Bowl. He's a youngster, too. He's only 22 years old. Watch this big man, an unlikely-looking big man, turn on the speed. Over 1,300 yards on the season.
And Tim McDonald, number 46 of the 49ers, that is the wrong place to try to attack Natron Means, up around the shoulder pads. You better get below the belt or you have no chance.
Now that's Marshall Faulk after Means goes 41. That's quite a change of pace. You go from Means to Marshall Faulk, swarming through the middle for a pickup of 4.
Going back to Haley, though, I got the sense, he just wants to talk it over and see what the cap has to do with his 2+ something salary. And I'd be willing to bet he'll be there.
Oh, no question about it. I'd be shocked if Haley retires next year after that conversation we had yesterday. 2nd down and 7 from the 43-yard line. And Faulk stopped at the 44. He's going to make $2.4 million next year. And then the Cowboys, even though he's a hefty priced player, want him back.
I don't think you take anything to heart that a player says in the losing locker room after a big ball game. That is not the time to make a rational decision about what you're going to do with your future. And I think that holds true for Charles Haley.
If he comes back, I want Jerry Jones to give me an assist.
Yeah, he's too productive. Still got a lot of excellent football in him. He shouldn't quit.
And I like to watch him, too.
3rd down and 7. John Elway throws. The catch is made at the 40-yard line, but short of the first down. Tim Brown of the Raiders, pretty outspoken in the wake of the coaching change the other day with Mike White taking over for Art Shell. Brown coming off a great year, makes the catch here, but it's 4th and 3.
And they're going to go for it.
And you're Tim Brown, pulled down 89 catches, represent most of the offense for the Raiders this year. You can be outspoken. You know he's going to play, you know he's going to produce, and he cares a lot about the Raiders, and they're getting back to be a winning football team.
He basically said, why doesn't Al Davis just coach the team himself? On 4th and 3, the catch is made by Tim Brown, and he has a first down as they convert on what might be the final play of the quarter. Williams and Allen in on the stop. Well, the AFC mounting a drive as the period ends, but it's been basically all NFC as the National Conference leads it by a score of 10-0. And back we come to the Pro Bowl after this message. Back in Honolulu, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf with Leslie Visser and Lynn Swan on the sidelines. We are near Pearl Harbor, Aloha Stadium, 20 years old, opened in 1975, start the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the AFC at the NFC 35-yard line. And this is Marshall Faulk out of San Diego State, the great-looking rookie from the Indianapolis Colts, who's played here in the past since San Diego State and the University of Hawaii are both in the Western Athletic Conference, picking up 13.
What did you see him pick up speed and accelerate off that right foot when he planted it to the outside? He has the quickest moves. He's not really with great speed, but his moves are so quick.
Third youngest player ever to start a Pro Bowl game. The youngest is in this game today, Barry Sanders. Mike McCormick, the second youngest. Elway throws to the end zone, and wide open is Eric Green of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Touchdown.
Was he open?
Pretty tough to lose track of a guy that weighs 290 pounds.
22 yards.
Good read by John. He was looking left for Tim Brown. Comes right back to Eric Green, picks him up.
Eric Green, a substitute in this game. Shannon Sharp of the Denver Broncos was the tight end elected that couldn't play because of an injury. Just straight down the seam. That's what they call finding the seam. A perfect strike from Elway, and the big boy has a touchdown.
Well, that look off to the left of Elway. It just pulled Darren Woodson right off Eric Green.
John Carney for the point after, and well, it's just good. Just inside the right upright. So the AFC mounts an impressive drive to pull within 3.
Did you ever...
The Pro Bowl with one of the biggest stories at the end of the season, Charles Haley. Charles, 3 weeks ago you said you were retiring. Say it ain't so.
Well, I don't know. I'm having fun today, you know. Anything could change, you know. Like I told him before, I'm sat down, talk with Jerry and Barry, and then we're going to figure out what's going on.
What would it take to get you back with the Cowboys?
Hey, I'm not the key. You know, if I feel like playing, I'm going to play, you know, if God's willing. But, you know, they got to, regardless of whatever I do, they got to get the team ready to play next year.
Would you say it's unlikely, though, that this is your last appearance in an NFL uniform?
Well, you know, after seeing you again, Leslie, I want to get back in somewhere around you. If, you know, I was telling Barry, maybe hire me so I can just see you and talk to you on the side.
Back to you, Al. Thanks.
Okay. I don't know where to go from there as Mel Gray takes it back out to the 27-yard line.
I'm not sure any one of the three of us could have gotten that interview.
I know Dick Stockton's on his way down the field right now. That's Mr. Leslie Visser.
That's unfair.
I can say that because I've called Mr. Kathy Lee so many times, Dick.
Well, Troy Aikman is now coming into the game. So Steve Young goes the first quarter. And now we're going to see Aikman. The other quarterback is Warren Moon for the NFC. So Troy Aikman begins this drive at the 27-yard line. The NFC is on top 10-7. Steve Young leading them to a touchdown and a field goal. Ricky Waters and Jerome Bettis are the backs, and this play is dead before the snap. A whistle from Larry Nimmers.
False start prior to the snap. Offense number 88. 5 yards, still first down.
All right, let's get a word from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Tim, they were talking upstairs a little bit about your outspokenness, talking about the situation in Los Angeles. And as I understand it, you're not really you're not upset about having Mike White as a coach, but it's a situation that exists in L.A.
Yeah, that was my point. I was just speaking for the players. You know, I wasn't trying to criticize Mike White. But, you know, I've been there 7 years, and, you know, we came close to winning the thing 1 year. But I'm just speaking for the players, and this is how the players feel in the locker room. So all I'm trying to say is let's get on the same page some kind of way. You know, if the players feel as if something is going on, we got to find a way to rectify that situation.
Now, obviously, you're talking about Al Davis making decisions, taking maybe a long time to make decisions that the coaching staff will make faster. How does that affect your ball club?
Well, you know, what happens is, you know, sometimes the players lose respect for the coaches, and that's the biggest deal. When you're in a meeting with the coaches and they're telling you stuff and you look at them like, is this really what you want or what? You know, that's a problem, you know. So, hey, you know, it doesn't matter who they bring in as a coach. And I have a lot of respect for Mike White. You know, I was in college at Notre Dame when he was at Illinois, so, you know, I know what he can do. But at the same time, you know, we got to get this thing settled.
So you want a guy that just has the authority to make those decisions and run his own ball club?
Yeah, you know, I just want to be able to know when Mike White says something that's coming from him. That's all.
Okay, Tim, thank you. You know, Al, Mike Shanahan was at the Los Angeles Raiders before he moved on back to Denver and San Francisco. Here's a guy who's regarded as one of the very talented offensive coordinators and now the head coach for the Denver Broncos. He was in Los Angeles, and he didn't have a chance to run his ball club. So, obviously, there seems to be a problem from the players' perspective also.
Well, and we give Tim Brown the Candor Award.
Yes, we do.
He's the early leader in that category, and I think we might retire that trophy. We might ask right now
where he's going to be playing next year.
Third down and 16, and it is almost intercepted up at the 38-yard line. Rod Woodson had what appeared to be a fairly easy pick, cutting in front of Michael Irvin.
You know, if you were to give Al Davis equal time, he would say, this is my football team. It is my philosophy. My philosophy has won in the past, and I want my coaches to do what I tell them to do. Now, the other side of that is it was an excellent point raised by Tim Brown in saying, if the players who sit in that room do not believe that what they are being told to do is actually the belief and the philosophies of their coaches, there is a loss of respect. There is a question. And football is a game where players cannot question their coaches because, Frank, as you well know, you have to do a lot of things that aren't fun.
You're right about them winning, Dan. They haven't won in a long time, the big one.
Reggie Roby kicks a line drive to the 30-yard line. Eric Metcalf with a 16-yard run back. He brings it back to the 46-yard line. That's where the AFC will begin its next drive. 13:07 to the half. The NFC leading the AFC 10-7. Irving Fryer going through a...
Aloha. I'm just relaxing. Take your time. Enjoy the weather, enjoy the breeze, enjoy your time, enjoy your life. Mahalo.
Irving in between the two-a-days in preparation for the Pro Bowl.
It is a grueling schedule these guys have.
A little pineapple philosophy there.
Almost as difficult as ours.
Here's Chris Warren picking up 9, the Seattle Seahawk, who took that handoff from Drew Bledsoe. The emerging star we mentioned at the beginning of the game, the youngest quarterback to ever play in the Pro Bowl. Second year out of Washington State. Fabulous year for the Patriots. Led them into the playoffs.
691 attempts. And who was the head coach? Bill Parcells.
4,555 yards. Now, 25 touchdowns, but 27 interceptions. Those will
Most
begin.
of those came early, though.
Yep. And they will start to disappear over the years as he continues to mature.
2nd and 1. Warren picks up the first down. You caught a glimpse of Elway, who was 3 of 7 for 31 yards and 1 touchdown. Steve Young was 7 of 11 for 114, and Steve's with Leslie Visser.
Everything Steve Young touches seems to come out okay. Steve, so far it's going pretty well, but the AFC is mounting a little charge here.
Yeah, we got to hold them off because there's extra money in this game. We're trying to tell everyone on the sideline this game's not over. We can get to the win. The NFC can take the lock on the whole season.
What about for you? Are you still savoring the experience of the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah. It'll be a 6-month savoring, you know, until training camp next year. You enjoy the championship and the great season that we had.
What do you think of the 49ers right now? You lost your quarterback coach, your offensive and defensive coordinators. What do you think the team needs?
Well, we nominated Jerry Rice to be the new offensive coordinator. We got so many experienced guys that there's a point where we can almost coach ourselves. We need someone to come in and kind of speak our language and keep us going.
Great. Probably headed for Super Bowl 30?
Oh, I'd hope so.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, it looks like Brent Jones lost his offensive coordinator's job already.
I'll tell you, that's a good politicking quarterback. He yesterday gave it to Brent Jones. Today gave it to Jerry Rice.
I will say this.
Spread it around.
It's good to be headstrong and self-confident, but it's unusual to hear a player start talking about we could almost coach ourselves.
2nd and 10, and Chris Warren picks up about 5. You saw Bledsoe on the prior play. Incomplete, intended for Irving Fryer. Tuggle makes the tackle here.
The 49er offense is a gifted machine, but they can't coach themselves. I think the coaches have to get some credit.
Well, the stadium is rocking. They got a wave going, and it's going in opposite directions. Kind of meets every now and then. The whole stadium shakes.
Big waves, nothing new here on Oahu, but you're right. This thing does move when it comes by.
This Carter is staying warm for the NFC.
3rd down and 6. Flags are down. Well, Bill Arnsparger, we were talking about, coaching changes and the like. Arnsparger retiring as the defensive coordinator at San Diego. We now understand Dave Adolph, who had been in Kansas City under Marty Schottenheimer, is the new defensive coordinator of the San Diego Chargers.
Neutral zone and back fraction.
But Carson retired, did he not?
The defensive team. Yep. 5 yards. Still third down.
And Dave Adolph, one of the fine coordinators around, too. A big background with Cleveland and the Raiders before Kansas City. Defensive coordinators, they just automatically, it seems, step up to be head coaches, too. They seem to have a franchise on getting head coaching jobs over the past few years.
Now, Ray Rhodes, the latest among the Super Bowl champion defensive coordinators to make that transition, going from the 49ers to the head coaching job with the Eagles. 3rd down and 1 at the 30-yard line. And Bledsoe will take it himself for a gain of a yard and a half, and a first down for the AFC.
It's almost impossible to miss on short yardage because you can't play in the gap. You can get your linebackers in a down situation, but you have to play that straight 4-3. And you get a 6'5" quarterback following a Pro Bowl center. You got a pretty good chance you're going to pick up a first down.
Well, you can understand why they limit the rules. You only have 4 or 5 practices. There's only so much you can go against, and football has become so complicated, so intense in its different alignments and everything that you've got to do it.
Marshall Faulk makes the catch to the 19-yard line. So the two emerging stars in the league, Bledsoe and Faulk, linking up here.
I point out, too, that one of the great players that will not see today, he's not here because of an injury, is Reggie White. He ordinarily would have been a defensive end. William Fuller there now. Reggie White with an injury that kept him out of another Pro Bowl. It would have been his 9th consecutive Pro Bowl, and he couldn't make it.
Yeah, Fuller moves up to the starting lineup, but that guy, Wayne Martin, who's in the ball game now there, number 92 at the bottom of your screen, he's the guy that took his place on the roster.
And on 2nd and 1, Tim McDonald almost intercepts and wants offensive interference called on Eric Green, who scored the touchdown earlier.
I think Eric Green made it look like he might have got a little interference, but he made it look like he was going for the football. And Bledsoe picking up the big Eric Green in the end zone. He makes it look like he's going to go up for the ball. Well, kind of, sort of.
Well, Eric Green mugged Tim McDonald. That was offensive interference to the nth degree.
I guess it was his head he was going for.
Makes it 3rd down and 1. 9:29 to go in the half. The NFC on top, 10-7. And Marshall Faulk exploits the hole, takes it to the 9. 1st and goal for the AFC. Tackled by Merton Hanks of the 49ers.
And I'll tell you who else was in on that tackle. Deion Sanders.
No.
Yes. I'm telling you. Deion got down there and was sniffing around this thing.
Hey, we saw him make a big hit in the Super Bowl. It's not that he won't do it. He doesn't like to do it.
Watch the left. There he is.
All right.
There he is.
Should be.
Deion Sanders.
Gets an assist.
He does.
And 1st and goal. Faulk to the outside.
Deion again.
Out of bounds at the 6-yard line.
Deion's going, hey, enough of this.
I'm out of here. I got a rap concert to do.
He said, I can't be dealing with this now.
How did he do last night?
He did one. He opened for Santana last night at the Blaisdell Arena in Honolulu.
Boy, he is what you call your basic hot, isn't he?
Well, he's hot about having to make 2 tackles in a row. His line is, hey, that's what linebackers are for. You don't have an Arabian stallion pulling the old beer wagon. I don't do tackling on running plays.
2nd and goal. Bledsoe. He's going to take off, and he gets wrapped up at the 5-yard line by Dana Stubblefield of the 49ers. 3rd and goal upcoming for the AFC.
Boy, Stubblefield coming off a great year. We talked about it so often during the Super Bowl, what he's meant to the interior part of that line for the San Francisco 49ers. More than that, he had 8.5 sacks. First-round pick of a year ago, and just has emerged as a real solid player for the 49ers.
And next year, he just might have Bryant Young with him in a Pro Bowl. He's got Pro Bowl written all over him, the rookie from Notre Dame.
3rd and goal, the 11th play of this drive. Bledsoe surveys, throws, and it's incomplete. Good coverage intended for Irving Fryer. Aeneas Williams of the Cardinals with the coverage, and the AFC will have to settle for a game-tying field goal attempt.
Little crossing pattern and very well covered defensively by Sanders, getting help from the inside. Did a good job on it.
Is it too early to think about overtime?
I think it is.
Oh, okay.
This will be a 22-yard field goal attempt. John Carney, the kicker.
You let me know when I can start thinking.
You bet. And it's good out of the hold of Rick Tootin, and that ties it up. So the NFC had a 10-0 lead, but the AFC has caught the NFC with 7:32 to play in the first half. Another salute to the 49ers. I'll tell you one thing, the fans over here love the 49ers. They have for years. Through thick and thin, Hawaii has really been 49er territory.
Yeah, they kind of booed when the Dallas Cowboys were introduced.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised.
I think it goes hand in hand with that 49er allegiance Al was talking about. Besides, it's fashionable to boo the team you respect. And I think that's I don't think the Cowboys take it as a sign of hatred. I think it's a sign of respect.
Well, they're good football fans. They sell this thing out. They sold it out in December.
Well, the Pro Bowl has been played here every year since 1980 and has come close to selling out, or has sold out every year. 16th Pro Bowl to be played in this venue. John Carney to kick it off, and he sends it down into the corner at the 1-yard line. Mel Gray of the Lions bumped out of bounds at the 24. Last night at the Santana concert to open up the performance. Well, what do you think?
Not Rogers' heart. I wonder if he's lip syncing now.
From the 24-yard line, it's
funny that you, of all people, would have an interest in that. That's surprising. I'd have to say he's the first player in the Pro Bowl history that actually had a concert the night before the game.
Yes.
Santana, the main attraction, but Dion obviously right out there and got the biggest rise from the crowd when he was introduced, and he has become a one-man conglomerate.
He's in the news very big time too.
Yeah.
Talk of the corporate sponsorships and opportunities that might keep him in San Francisco, whereas the salary would.
Here's Sanders. Well, it's pretty clear. It's been talked about. He has a deal with the Sega company that will pay him a lot more money to stay in San Francisco than to go elsewhere. The question now becomes, does this become, I don't want to say epidemic around the league, but other players as well are going to start making deals contingent upon outside income.
The problem, of course, is you can see readily the opportunities in the big cities so much more readily there as they would be in like Green Bay or Cincinnati or Cleveland. Great franchises, but they could not compete on that basis.
I think it's safe to say that it's a concern for Commissioner Paul Tagliabue and something that he will have to deal with.
3rd down and 5 for the NFC at the 29-yard line. 6:45 to go in the opening half. The game tied 10-10. Troy Aikman. And this play is whistled dead. One of those unabated situations. Bruce Smith.
By the way, the officials today are wearing a couple of armbands in this game in memory of 2 of their fellow workers.
Neutral zone infraction on the defense, number 78, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
They're wearing number 42 and number 44 on their armbands, and number 42 in honor of umpire David Hamilton, who passed away a few months ago, and field judge Donnie Hampton, who passed away this past January 30th, number 44. Very close-knit group and some really fine people that labor under a lot of stress.
Yeah, they better be a close-knit group the way they get attacked from all angles sometimes.
3rd and a short one, and a great play by Leslie O'Neal, stopping Barry Sanders.
Well, that's one way to keep Barry Sanders from making any magic.
I don't think he's back in Green Bay.
Hit him at the handoff.
Well, he had a nightmare in Green Bay, didn't he?
So Sanders stopped on 3rd and inches.
Well, when a running back is stymied like he was in Green Bay, it's more the running back normally has nothing to do with it. That's a complete failure of everybody up front and everybody around that running back. That's a guy like Barry. Has nothing to do with it.
Reggie Roby sending a long bouncer down to Metcalf, and he's tackled at the 24-yard line by Elbert Shelley, and that's why he was named as the special teams rep for the NFC. Elbert Shelley.
Hello, I'm Martin Mull for Red Roof Inns, and here to announce Operation Pushpin. You've made us one of the most popular economy motel chains, so we're expanding. Putting more clean, comfortable inns across the nation. So wherever you see one of these,
Call 1-800-THE-ROOF for reservations and new locations.
Sorry.
Now, an oil made just for your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-roading, extreme temperatures, towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a conventional car oil? Get 4x4 from Quaker State.
Now, an independent test showed 4x4 superior to leading conventional car oils in protecting against deposits that can shorten engine life.
Football can be exciting, but truck football, now that's a rush. So if you're gonna tackle it, you better get a hold of the right equipment. A 1995 Ford Ranger 4x4.
Red 39!
Complete with switch-on four-wheel drive, new four-wheel anti-lock brakes, and a whopping 4-liter V6. So get a Ford Ranger 4x4 and play truck football.
How am I gonna spike this thing? Get ready for this.
The going gets weird on an all-new Roseanne.
Yeah, I saved him from evil cannibals in the nursery.
Well, you don't have to do that, honey. We spray for cannibals.
Wednesday on ABC.
Back in Aloha Stadium with a player both these teams would like to have. Congratulations, Leroy Selman. How has the game changed since you were here in the Pro Bowl?
Well, I tell you, the players are much bigger and stronger than they were when I was participating out here, and I just walked along the sidelines on both team sides, and this is no place for me to be participating actively, that's for sure.
What about, I know it was a long time ago, but you played for Barry Switzer. What was he like then?
Well, it was a lot of fun. Coach Switzer, he was very laid back at the University of Oklahoma. He allowed us to have a lot of fun playing there. So all of us as players really enjoyed the experience of playing Oklahoma football under Barry Switzer.
Well, he is a character. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And Jeff Hostetler is the new quarterback. So Bledsoe came in. I suspect we're going to see Bledsoe in the second half as well. And now Hostetler to wrap up the first half, pressured that time by Wayne Martin. And we looked at Leroy Selman. He played for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, one of 4 teams not represented in this game. Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, the Giants, and the Bears, each without a rep. And again, it just speaks volumes for Dave Wanstead. He gets a team into the playoffs and wins a game without one guy going to the Pro Bowl.
I love Leroy's comment. He lost the first 26 games he played. And after coming from as an All-American from Oklahoma, we'll get back to it.
Natron Means bottled up.
He ran into a little youngster one day, and the youngster had a pencil and a pad, and he said, "Would you like my autograph?" And the kid said, "Not if you play for Tampa Bay."
There's a guy that probably signed a few autographs, Carlos Santana. Is he doing something at halftime here today?
We'll have a chance to see a little bit of Carlos in action.
We'll bring it to you at halftime. Who did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat for their first victory?
Cardinals.
Nope.
That was a good guess, though.
Yeah, well, thanks. It was actually closer. There is a Cardinal helmet on top of Seth Joyner. It was the only reason I know.
I didn't mean it that way.
Look out. Unabated. Haley.
Yeah, they got to stop that one. When Haley's all the way across the ball, they got to toss that whistle in there early.
If we get the answer to this, do we win a trip to Hawaii?
Yes. Yes. And if you win them,
Defense, number 94 offside.
You might win a trip home.
The quarterback, 5 yards, still third down.
Early. All right, now they They beat the New Orleans Saints for their first victory, but that was on the road. That was at the Superdome in New Orleans. And then the following week, for their first home victory, they beat
the Cardinals.
Yes,
the Cardinals.
Unfortunately, you were right the first time. and I was there for that one. What a thrilling day that was. Look at this. Yeah.
3rd down and 5 after the penalty. AFC at the 29. Game time at 10. 4:18 to go. First half. Hostetler flushed out again. And just going to take off and pick up the first down out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
This would be a good time for Elway to put that slap knee on his back.
Well, we've got some high-priced items there. We had a quick look at Warren Moon with Aikman and
flag down on that last play.
Lots of zeros behind these quarterbacks playing here today.
They were talking about the Buccaneers and Selman and their first victory. It's amazing to think back. A lot of people have forgotten that team in 1979 got within one game of the Super Bowl, losing to the Rams in the NFC Championship game.
Leroy Selman had one of the great offensive linemen. We used to call it the club, but Leroy had this great inside move where he would just hitch up alongside the shoulders with that inside arm of his, that left arm, and knock you out of the way. And Leroy always made me glad that I was a right tackle and he was the defensive end on the other side of the field.
Let's get a word from Swanee.
Thank you, Alan. With Junior Seau Jr., they announced in the booth early in the ball game that San Diego Chargers have a new defensive coordinator and Dave Adolph from Kansas City. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. That's a big surprise to us, and pretty sure it's going to be a big surprise to the rest of the players that are here.
Do you know anything about Dave Adolph? What kind of defense he'd like to run?
Oh, Dave Adolph is a great coach. You know, I've been watching him through the years and things like that. It's going to be exciting, you know, what he has for us, and we look forward to it.
When Bill decided to retire, did he talk to you? Did he talk to any of the defensive players?
I don't think he got to talk to anyone. I think it was just a spare of the moment. I think that we felt that it was going to happen, and he's been a great coach, and he's been a blessing to me.
Okay, Junior, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Lynn. As Hostetler throws, and the catch is made at the 10-yard line. Irving Fryer got position on Aeneas Williams to haul it in.
Only appropriate. Irving Fryer coming off a great year with Miami, one of his best in a lot of years, having come from New England a couple of years ago. 73 receptions for the season, and got himself in front of the defender and comes down with the ball. It was Williams, fine cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals, trying to cover Fryer.
Well, Williams stays on the ground. His feet stayed on the ground the entire time. Irving went up in the air and shielded Williams away from the football. Williams had no play on it whatsoever.
Fryer, a big playmaker. 20 plays of over 20 yards or more, 20 receptions of over 20 or more.
Here's Natron Means to the 4 after that 35-yard pickup. Bryce Pop makes the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 3 with 2:45 to go in the first half, and the game tied 10-10.
And this is where I wouldn't get too fancy. I just give it to Natron again and give it to him again and give it to him again. You could pick up a first down and not get in the end zone. I'd hammer Natron at him as much as I could.
Well, are we in an area now, Dan,
everybody's listening to me. That's why they're bringing him out of the game.
Are we in an area now where they can get into a goal line defense? I think that's more like 2 to 3 yards.
Right.
They can't play in the gap at this point. They can't get their linebacker in a down position.
They can blitz at 2nd down and 3 from the 4-yard line.
Looks like Leroy Hord's going to get a shot at it.
He is, and the one-time Michigan star scores for the AFC. Richmond Webb through the block.
Michigan can run.
Well, that's what I said. They give it to Leroy time after time after time. Pretty good blocking on the left side. You mentioned Richmond Webb. Kind of a delayed running attack for the goal line situation, but well blocked up front. Take a look at it. It's going to be coming right at you.
One of those Cleveland Browns that Bill Belichick has really brought along.
You know, it's good blocking by the whole Miami Dolphin group there. Keith Sims was the left guard. Webb was the left tackle, and you saw a good clearing block from the outside put on by Irving Fryer. That's Miami Dolphins doing the blocking and the Cleveland Browns doing the running.
John Carney tacks on the point, so that's 17 unanswered points for the AFC after the NFC had moved out to a 10-0 lead in the first quarter. Another look at Leroy Horde.
Well, that is a fine job by the Miami Dolphins on the left side of that line.
I guess so. The three key blocks: Sims, Webb, Fryer. Pretty good work.
Well, the AFC trying to salvage something. Everybody knows about the NFC dominance in the Super Bowl, 11 straight. This year in interconference play during the regular season, the NFC won 27 of the 52 games, the AFC 25. And despite the dominance of the NFC through the years in the Super Bowl, the last 10 games have been split right down the middle here in the Pro Bowl in Honolulu.
I think the dominance has to do with the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers primarily.
Yep.
Everyone's calling for all kinds of radical actions, realignment. I don't think you're going to see that. I don't think that's even going to be a top consideration when the owners get together.
Yeah, the minute you start to mess with those things, then it turns around, and then you have another set of problems.
I played in the decade of the 70s in the National Conference, and we couldn't buy a Super Bowl win in the 70s.
Sure.
I mean, back then, I think the NFC had like one victory the whole decade of the 70s, completely dominated by Miami, by the Raiders, by the Steelers. The NFC was, you know, they'd have been talking about, well, maybe we ought to seed this thing so we can get Oakland and Pittsburgh to play in some sort of a Super Bowl.
Here's Mel Gray taking it right down the sideline and out of bounds up at about the 25-yard line. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning with the AFC leading by 7.
Introducing Ford Contour.
Deion Sanders and the NFC now trailing 17-10 with 1 minute and 59 seconds to play in the first half. The 25th AFC NFC Pro Bowl, and Brent Musburger is here and will fill us in on the happenings around the National Football League. We talked about Santana. I had a chance to visit with Barry Switzer. Among the things we'll deal with at halftime from Honolulu. AFC players in the cool zone as the NFC takes over at the 25-yard line, first down and 10. And the fake to Bettis. Aikman under pressure and gets sacked back at the 20-yard line. Well, guys, I know one thing. One of the best moves the NFL ever made was moving this game to Honolulu, because the show-up rate is a lot better than it was when you were playing in the old Pro Bowl, Frank, and when you were playing, Dan, as well.
Well, you know, it's a lot easier to go home and tell your wife, honey, I'm going to the Pro Bowl, and we're going to go to Hawaii, and when they start packing.
I enjoyed going around to different cities and playing in some of those other cities. Let's check out this pass here from Troy Aikman. Incomplete. But you're right. Once they made a permanent home here in Honolulu, two things happened. One, the players do love to come because it is a chance to get away with their family. But I think one of the reasons they like to come here is the way that the city of Honolulu and the state of Hawaii has really embraced this game. You can't imagine what a big deal this is. They get thousands of people just to come out here and watch the teams practice, and I think the players enjoy that.
No question about it. The enthusiasm is terrific, and wasn't that many years ago that live football was a novelty over here. They used to bring the games in until the mid-70s on tape delay a week later, outside of the real special events like the Super Bowls and NFC and AFC championship games. Flag is down here, and the pass is thrown out of bounds.
You, of course, were living here at the time, Al, when a lot of that was happening.
Well, great fans over here. They've been talking for years about a possible expansion franchise. The big problem, though, is the time zone factor.
Defense, number 92, 5 yards, still third down.
It'd be a tough trip to play the Giants, too.
Be a long trip home after a Monday night game in Honolulu for an East Coast team, wouldn't it? You wouldn't get home till Wednesday.
Of course, there's a formula, and so obviously it would happen on occasion.
Third down and 10. At this time of year, since they don't go to a daylight savings time here, there's a 5-hour difference, and then in the summertime a 6-hour difference between here and the East Coast. Third down and 10 now from the 25-yard line. Aikman throws, and the pass pass is incomplete up at the 42-yard line. Dale Carter helping to break up the play. Michael Irvin, the intended receiver.
Boy, and just as we saw earlier, a superb play made by Terry McDaniel. You saw a fine one timed out by Dale Carter from Kansas City. What a gifted athlete he is. He can do so many things. Good return man. Watch, he times this out just absolutely with the ball in the receiver's hands.
Steve Atwater, number 27, coming across to apply a little love tap to Michael Irvin.
He is an attention getter.
He sure is.
Here's Reggie Roby. On the 26-yard line, Eric Metcalf. With a 10-yard return. He's tackled there by Elbert Shelley up at the 36-yard line. Well, we're talking about a possible expansion franchise. Malibu Kelly Hayes points out to me the way things are happening right now in the NFL. If Honolulu were to get a franchise, they'd put them in the NFC East.
That's the current standings here. This is Pro Bowl number 25.
Well, in this quarter, the AFC with a gigantic advantage, and it's reflected on the scoreboard.
Of course, in the first quarter,
points.
it was just about the opposite for the NFC. Jesse Sapolo,
What a
William
fine
Rowe
conversation
standing
we
there
had
talking
with Bill Cowher yesterday when we asked him about those final few seconds of the Pittsburgh-San Diego game. The fourth quarter pass, the call he felt so good about, and you know how he must have been hurt by that play, but he really expressed himself beautifully.
Here's Hostetler throwing. The catch is made by Leroy Horde, who breaks a couple of tackles and is finally forced out of bounds at the 41 of the NFC by John Randall.
In talking to Bill Cowher, we asked him, it had to hurt, and he said, no, he said it did hurt. He said, but that's what we're in this game for. We're in this game for moments just like that.
Deion Sanders was one of the guys in the vicinity of Leroy Horde when he was going down the sidelines, and I think Deion not really going to go after and punish Leroy on the watch the end of this play. You'll see Sanders in the background. There he is. Deion choosing not to attack Leroy that time.
And he had himself under control. He was there in case Horde turned it back to the inside.
And if you believe that. Oh, there was a line stunt.
Launching one for Fryer, but too far.
Oh, you're not supposed to be doing any line stunting. I think I saw one there.
Meanwhile, Fryer got inside and beyond Deion.
And Leslie O'Neal came on. Kevin Green came on at the field to complain about it. Again, we'll remind you, Zeke Bratkowski, the longtime assistant coach who is looking over this kind of action with Jack Reeder. Let's take a look at it. You'll see it right here.
Charles Haley, number 94. Watch him loop around to the inside. Number 91, John Randall, going to the outside. That's a no-no, boy.
Did it just happen, though?
Those little tricksters, they're down there playing games.
That should have been a 15-yard penalty.
2nd and 10 at the 41. Haas gives it to Falk on a draw, and he gets taken down by Ken Harvey of the Redskins at the 39-yard line. And a timeout is called with 44 seconds remaining in the opening half.
And we talk about that stunt as being a penalty. And Dan, you could probably best explain why, being an offensive lineman, and the difficulty with which it is to bring that many players together.
Well, the problem is that different teams pick up stunts in different ways. Some teams around the league zone block it, where you just pass them one to another. Some teams man block it, where you float with your guy and go behind your teammate. And it really would be impossible to ask an offensive lineman to break years worth of training to come to a Pro Bowl and block it differently. So they feel it's best just not to have any stunts whatsoever. Now, it always happens, and that's okay. The linemen deal with it, and it becomes a little mind game down there between the defensive lineman and the offensive lineman.
And let's face it, one of the reasons they do not want it here is we talked about the high-priced quarterbacks that are out there. When the stunt works, the guy on the receiving end of it is going to be your quarterback.
Yeah. A couple cheese heads here. All the way.
So some Viking fans earlier. 3rd down and 8 at the 39-yard line. AFC up by 7. 44 seconds left in the first half. Hostetler stepping up. Going to the near side and incomplete. Unable to hold on was Andre Reed. Tight coverage by Aeneas Williams.
Well, that was good work by Aeneas Williams. Good work getting to the hands and to the forearms of Andre Reed to get that ball away. Look at that.
He just quietly emerged as a super player this year. 9 interceptions, tied him with Eric Turner and leading the league for interceptions, but that was excellent coverage on the part of Williams.
Wayne Bell Jr. has been named the 1994 NFL Mascot of the Year, adorned in a replica of a Junior Seau uniform.
You can smile there, Wayne.
Yeah.
Wayne's got the game face on today.
Mel Gray back to receive this kick on 4th down. Rick Booten-Tootin of the Seattle Seahawks. Send it down toward the Eva end zone. It's a sideways bounce and is down inside the 10. Junior Seau made the touch.
You see Steve Tasker there. He's down inside the 5-yard line, ready to field that ball. And again, the special teams player again this year from Buffalo. And I tell you, I swear, you look at him, he's got to be a choir boy. He just does not look like the type of football player he actually is. He's good timing on, gets inside the 5-yard line. He's there waiting for the ball to make a bounce.
It's a pretty good sized cast he's got on his right wrist and forearm there. This is a tough way to earn a living, doing it predominantly on special teams, and guys like Albert Shelley and Steve Tasker, you have to admire what they do. It's the dirty work of this league.
A kneel down ends the opening half. The NFC had taken a 10-0 lead, but the AFC with 17 points in the second quarter, totally dominated by the American Conference. Elway started. We saw Bledsoe. We've seen Hostetler, and we figure to see a lot of Drew Bledsoe in the second half. Still to come for the NFC, of course, is Warren Moon.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see some more action from guys like Marshall Faulk and Barry Sanders, and maybe each team trying to establish their running game a little bit more, and that's fine with me. I like to see those guys go.
AFC leading at the half, 17-10. Brent Musburger will be along to join us at halftime from Honolulu, and we'll return after this word from our ABC stations.
Burger.
Well, it looked like a replay of Super Bowl 29 when the NFC jumped all over the AFC in this year's Pro Bowl, but then the AFC dug in, and now they lead it at the half, 17-10. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. One of the wonderful things about coming to the Pro Bowl is every year you get a free shirt from somebody. You gotta love it. You know, one of the more relaxed persons here all week has been NFC coach Barry Switzer. I mean, he watched the first half over there on the bench. And earlier this week, Al had a conversation with him here in Aloha.
Is coaching in the National Football League what you had pretty much expected?
It's better than I expected. You know, I coached 30 years at that other level, and when I say, Al, this is much easier, people look at me and say, what do you mean it's much easier? College coaches coach under tremendous pressure. It's, as I was walking off the field, I was visiting with someone today, and they were asking me the same thing. I said, hey, I don't worry about grades, academics, summer school, summer job programs. I don't deal with the personal crisis of players, and I don't have 50 of them here. You had 120 there. It isn't much easier. You're dealing with the best of the best, and they know how to go about their jobs. They've got great work ethic. They're evaluated on performance. They give you a good day's work, and most of these guys are great competitors, and they play with tremendous pride.
Are you satisfied with the job you did individually?
First of all, my first team meeting I could have done differently. You know, when that I go in and I visit with about management and my role and about my relationship with Jerry Jones, that was probably a mistake early on because of the reaction. I didn't really realize the atmosphere that existed then between certain players with management. I know today, so forget it, Jerry, you're not part of my talks anymore. It's just strictly with the coaches and the players. But I think there are things like that that were faux pas. But as far as football, I don't think there's anything that I can look back and say that my influence detracted or added to winning the football game on that particular day.
You fell behind 21-0 in the championship game. Too deep a hole to dig out of, even though your team gave an incredibly spirited performance to get right back in the game. In your heart, do you think your team is a better team than the 49ers right now?
You know, both teams are very talented. Both teams are capable of beating each other anytime you go out and play. But when you help people, and those people don't need help as talented as they are. And especially, you know what, my emotions in that first 5 minutes of that ball game, I turned around, I thought it was Keystone Cops. It was comical to me. I said, when are we really going to start the game? That was my emotions. This isn't really happening. We're down 21-0 here. Kevin Williams doesn't return fumble kickoff returns. Michael doesn't fumble receptions. Troy doesn't throw interceptions in first series. So
you want to put it on rewind?
Oh, yeah, I just want to back it up and start this thing over again.
And finally, Barry, did you have enough enjoyment and enough fun this year to say that you could do this for 10 years?
I don't know if I can do it for 10 years. I'm going to do it for a few more years. I'm going to do it as long as I feel good about it, and as long as two people feel good about it, and that's Jerry Jones and myself, because we're the only two who will have any influence on how long I coach here.
So Barry and Jerry now will spend the off-season getting ready for San Francisco, and the Cowboys do have a home game in the regular season against the 49ers next year. We come back, Peter King will update the saga of one Deion Sanders, and also we're going to hear from a rock and roll legend, Santana, when we continue.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL football cheerleaders, and of course, Santana.
We go from one legend to another. Folks, I ask you, does Peter King look like a wild and crazy guy? But there he was last night at the Santana concert. But you were watching Deion Sanders. How was he?
Well, Brent, let me tell you, the biggest hand he got all night is after his first song, he took off his vest. Crowd went nuts.
Listen, Al talked about the story that is going to rock the pro football world right now. The corporate sponsorship of pro players. Sega and some other companies are going to keep Neon Deion with the 49ers. Surely the league's not going to allow that.
Well, Brent, the Sega deal is just the tip of the iceberg. What's happening right now in San Francisco is that Deion Sanders has an offer, an endorsement offer from Sega that would pay him $2.5 million if he stays with the 49ers. It pays him $1.2 million if he goes to any other team. This obviously, as Brent said, is a violation of the spirit of the salary cap. But what's happening now is that there are two other corporations in the Bay Area who are already lining up to pay collectively more than $1 million to Deion Sanders. So in essence, the San Francisco 49ers are not going to have to foot the bill for the entire Deion Sanders contract. This obviously has a lot of NFL owners up in arms. Talked to Dan Rooney, the influential owner of the Steelers, today. Dan said it could ruin the competitive balance as he sees it in the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons have already protested this to the league. What's happening right now is that Carmen Policy, who I just got off the phone with, the president of the 49ers, is probably going to be called to New York to answer questions about this whole story. Did the 49ers have anything to do with the Sega deal or with any other deals? Carmen told me flat out, absolutely not.
Now, we're going to change the subject from Deion Sanders, and I know some folks are in favor of that. Give me the list of other free agents. Who's the hot property out there right now?
Well, Brent, right now, what's happening in free agency, it starts in 12 days. And you see that on this list, you see Andre Rison, who's going to be a very hot commodity in free agency. The Green Bay Packers are going to try to get him if they need to replace Sterling Sharp, who's had the serious neck injury. But the leading guy is Bryce Paup, this kind of, nobody guy who's come out of nowhere to be the best outside linebacker in this crop. Look for Paup to get $3 million from somebody, Brent.
And I would assume now that the Dallas Cowboys are going to try to sign our Leslie Visser, so Charles Hayden can wind up down there.
Well, that's exactly what Deion Sanders and everybody else in the league would hope happened. But what happened, I talked to Jerry Jones at the end of the first half. He said that he anticipates that Tony Tolbert, who's also a free agent, as well as Charles Haley, he's hopeful that both will be back. But they're in serious, serious trouble if both bookend pass rushers leave the Cowboys, because they have nobody except last year's first-round pick, totally unproven Shante Carver, to take their place.
Now, the San Francisco 49ers have to replace their outstanding offensive coordinator. Mike Shanahan's gone to Denver as a head coach. That's a tough spot to fill.
Crazy story here, Brent, because right now Mark Trestman, the former quarterback coach of the Cleveland Browns, is flying back to San Francisco for the second interview. He will be offered the job tomorrow morning by George Seifert. Here's a 39-year-old guy who's been a securities planner for the last 3 years, hasn't been coaching football. He could have the most high-profile assistant coaching job in the NFL by this time tomorrow.
Now, there is one head coaching job that has not been filled, the Rams. The league tells me don't yet call them the St. Louis Rams. That has not been approved yet. But who will the Rams hire as their head coach?
Well, tomorrow when Ernie Zampesi's plane touches down at LAX in Los Angeles, he will meet with Ernie Zampesi, the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, will meet with John Shaw and the Ram Brain Trust. He's going to get a job offer from the Rams, Brent, that is going to be at least 3 times the salary of what he makes now with the Cowboys, even though he doesn't want to be a head coach in the NFL. He's said it on plenty of occasions. The offer might be too good to refuse.
Got any concerts planned tonight, big fella?
No, I got a nice long flight planned tonight, Brent.
Did anybody tell you that you look like Norm from Cheers?
Yeah, everybody always tells me that. You hear about the 900?
Especially in that shirt, my man. Have a great time down here.
Thanks, Brent.
Always nice being with Peter King. We're going to take a break, and Al, Dan, and Frank will be back with the second half. It's a good Pro Bowl. The AFC is up by 7.
Welcome back to Aloha Stadium in Honolulu for the Pro Bowl, where the AFC leads at halftime 17-10. Fuad Reve's kicking off for the NFC. And back to accept the kick at the 8-yard line is Eric Metcalf of the Cleveland Browns. Away from Elbert Shelley, chased by Merton Hanks now. And is finally stopped up at the 28-yard line by Merton Hanks. And this Pro Bowl coverage from Honolulu is being brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. Speed stick by Menon. Like you, it never quits. And Visa. It's everywhere you want to be.
I'm always impressed, Dan, in a Pro Bowl with so many of the stars playing on special teams. They have to because of the limited numbers. And a lot of these guys don't perform on kickoff return teams, kickoff coverage teams for their own teams.
And that's why I'm surprised we haven't had bigger returns. You'd expect that there'd be some breakdowns in discipline on their coverage because of that.
Drew Bledsoe throws a screen to Marshall Faulk, who's off to the races after the 46-yard line.
Ooh, good block by Dermontti Dawson out front. He's the center, the very talented center for the Pittsburgh Steelers, playing in his 3rd Pro Bowl. And he not only snaps the ball to the quarterbacks, but has the quicks to get all the way out there, lead a screen, and make the initial block. That's how you get to a Pro Bowl. There he is in that middle convoy breaking out. He eyeballs Ken Harvey, puts the hat on him, takes Harvey out of the play. Good range, good mobility by a center, Dermontti Dawson.
18-yard pickup. Bledsoe throwing. The catch is made by Eric Green up at the 50. That's a gain of 4. Bryce Popp with the coverage. 2nd and 6.
Peter King was talking about Bryce Popp and his being a much sought-after free agent. It doesn't matter who you talk to, what week of the season. You ask any head coach in the league, what do you really need? What would make your ball club better? Somebody to rush the quarterback. Somebody who can pressure the quarterback. Right now, it is the most difficult position to fill in the NFL. If you're a pass rusher and you're a free agent, you're going to get big bucks.
Marshall Faulk picks up 3. Leon Lett makes the stop, and let's check in with Leslie Lisson.
Al, you were mentioning how the intensity level is a little bit different. Barry Switzer told me his main concern during halftime was to send his daughter Kathy out for a couple of hot dogs. He also addressed the team to the fact that he wants that $10,000 for the winning coach. Al?
With mustard or just relish?
With Barry, I think mustard.
3rd and 3 at the 47-yard line. Bledsoe. And the pass is incomplete. A one-hopper intended for Ben Coates. The two of them linking up 96 times this season.
That's a pretty heady throwaway on the part of Bledsoe. He didn't force it in there. There was good coverage. The time was running out. And he just put it on the carpet and did not risk the interception. He is learning every time he takes the field. And I had a nice conversation with his grandmother last night. She convinced me that it's Canton, Ohio. No question for her grandson, Drew Bledsoe. Agreed, of course.
Rick Tootin of the Seahawks. And fair catch is called for, but Mel Gray lets it bounce. And it is down by Steve Tasker at the 3-yard line.
What a surprise to be Tasker.
The Kansas City Chiefs in civvies here, and as we went to commercial, Larry Nemmers told us that Steve Tasker had gone out of bounds and had come back in. So therefore the re-kick, and that enables Mel Gray to take off, and is finally stopped by Dale Carter.
Well, the NFC made the most of that penalty and ensuing re-kick by Mel Gray, getting the ball all the way back up close to midfield. That ball was inside their own 5-yard line, so quite a dramatic change. Good thing Barry's already consumed his dogs. They might be getting a little frosty there with that
cool zone
apparatus on the sideline. Yeah, cool zone they call that thing.
Well, it had to happen, though. Mel Gray popping one. There's going to be Eric Metcalf. They're just too good on returning.
44-yard punt, 40-yard return.
They talked about the coverage not being what it would be in an ordinary game.
Bill Cowher can tell you all about Eric Metcalf.
And Troy Aikman gives it to Ricky Waters. So Aikman starts the second half. We'll see Warren Moon later. And Junior Seau is there for the stop.
Oh, I see one of the guys out there, Michael Dean Perry, in that AFC huddle, and he's a story. He's going to be in play in the expansion draft coming up, and he may end up playing for one of the expansion teams. There's Michael Dean, one of the quickest defensive tackles off the football. Now, talking to him, he's not all that upset about it.
No, because he's building a house in Charlotte, and that would be his preference. As Aikman throws, the catch is made at the 33-yard line by Michael Irvin. Aikman to Irvin will pick up on Michael Dean in a second, but meanwhile, Kellen Winslow, Hall of Famer, is down on the field with Lynn Swan.
Thank you, Al. Back in January 2nd, 1982, you said, I think people remember Kellen Winslow gave everything he had, one of the great playoff games of all time. Congratulations on your induction to the Hall of Fame, Kellen.
Thank you, Lynn. It's quite an honor, but I'd like to say that, first of all, thank God for the blessings that he bestowed on me, especially during this year, and to thank my teammates, because without them, I don't stand here today before you.
Now, people always talk about how the game has changed, but the way you guys ran the offense in San Diego those years, it seems pretty much the same, doesn't it?
San Francisco ran the same system we ran in San Diego. In Washington, we had their great years with the 2 tight ends. It was the same thing we did in San Diego. There's no difference. People just find different ways of doing it, call it different things.
But I'm sure you'd love to be in a situation where they wouldn't touch you as much as they used to downfield.
Well, when we played, I don't think it mattered whether that was a 5-yard bump rule or not, because the Raiders didn't obey it anyway.
The Hall of Fame is an important moment. Do you have any idea who will introduce you for that induction ceremony?
Without a doubt, no question about it. It'll be my high school coach, Coach Cornelius Perry, and Coach Jimmy Lewis, who got me started in football because I only played 1 year of high school football. They came to the gym class, got me and said, son, you belong on the football field. We see something in you that you don't see in yourself, and because of them, I'm here today.
Well, we see a lot of other things in Kellen Winslow. I know you got your law degree and you're living in Kansas City. Congratulations and good luck to you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay, Lynn, this is Moose Johnston taking it to the 26 after we watched Michael Irvin drop the pass from Troy Aikman. It'll be 3rd down and 4 upcoming.
Kellen Coryell wouldn't be a bad choice either.
No,
it was his offense that made the Kellen Winslows and the Dan Fouts and all of those great players for the Chargers when they were having that big run in the 80s.
Kellen Winslow, the pride of East St. Louis, Illinois. And on to the University of Missouri, and still does University of Missouri football games on radio. And much deserved. Great guy.
3rd down, 4 from the 27-yard line. No play. Jay Novacek was moving before the snap. AFC leading 17-10. 10.5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter.
Ball start. Offense. Prior to the snap, number 84. 5 yards. Repeat 3rd down.
Troy Aikman right now with a couple of his key receiving types. A moment ago we saw a very uncharacteristic movement on the part of Michael Irving, rather not concentrating on the ball. He was thinking end zone and dropped one on his quarterback.
Third and 9 now from the 32-yard line. Aikman for Irvin and overthrows him. I guess he's just not used to the spin on Aikman's ball, huh?
That's a pretty good play by Rod Woodson. Aikman, Irving gave him a good look to the inside, a pump fake on the part of Aikman, and Woodson went with it a little bit. You have to play man for man. There's the pump fake. And a good recovery by Rod Woodson. Could have been the 6-pointer, but he had to throw the ball perfectly, and he didn't get it there.
49-yard field goal attempt coming up here for Fuad Reve. So a weird series. Irvin drops a pass from Aikman, and then Aikman overthrows him.
They can't blame any of it on Deion Sanders.
No. And Fuad Reve bangs it through from 49 yards. And 0-2 left in the 3rd. It's now the AFC 17 and the NFC 13. Well, Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator, is now doing his thing from the sideline instead of upstairs.
Might have been having a difficult time communicating. It's hard. He usually works from upstairs.
And even we talked at halftime about Ernie Zampese and his being in play for the Rams job. He is not alone. Rich Brooks is the coach of the Oregon Ducks, is still in play. Mike Ditka is still an option. And if you were to poll the people of St. Louis, the maybe future side of the Rams, I think Mike Ditka would be the guy that would win a call-in poll as to who the fans would like to see.
Metcalf is tackled at the 14, and as we mentioned before, Terry Donahue is still in play as well, the UCLA coach.
And the Rams really don't need to be in a real big hurry to name a coach, because in some ways you're not 100% sure exactly where the Rams are going to play in '95. We'll know a lot more after an owners meeting that's upcoming here in 10 days to 2 weeks, and we'll have hopefully a better idea as to whether or not they'll give their blessing to the proposed move to St. Louis.
The California State Legislature unanimously calling on the National Football League to prevent that move.
There's a tug-of-war going on, no doubt.
I think they'd like to get it done, though, as soon as they can, because the combine starts in Indianapolis in another week or so as the pass is dropped by Andre Reed.
Well, they have the owners have a special meeting February 16th.
Right.
Now, it's certainly the proposed move will be discussed there. Not sure that there will be a vote, and probably not a vote until the owners meeting in March.
I'm talking about the naming of the coach.
Right. Well, I'm talking about, and if you're Rich Brooks or Ernie Zampese or Mike Ditka, you'd kind of like to know whether or not you were going to be living in Los Angeles or living in St. Louis. Don't roll your eyes at me, Frank.
Second and 10. Leroy Horde.
I'd never say it because I have an option.
All right, let's go to Lynn Swan with Derek Thomas.
Thank you. Al, you know, you report that Dave Aloff is leaving Kansas City to go to San Diego. I talked to Junior. He doesn't know, so the first person he talks to is Derek Thomas. And what did he ask you about Dave Aloff?
Well, he asked me what kind of coach was Dave Aloff, and I said that Dave Aloff's a pretty good coach. He's going to be the same each and every day.
And of course, that was the first time you heard that he was then going to San Diego.
It is. It comes as a big surprise to me.
And what does that mean to Kansas City in terms of replacing him?
I don't know. I mean, I'll just have to wait and see who they replace him with, and hopefully replace him with somebody that can do as good a job.
Thank you, Derek. Al?
All right, thank you, Lynn. Ben Coates makes the catch from Bledsoe, and that has a familiar ring to it. Bledsoe to Coates for a first down.
Well, they did it 96 times during the course of the season. And Bledsoe and Coates teaming up for a New England all-time receiving record. It was Coates breaking the old record of Stanley Morgan, I believe, held that record.
It's a combination that Robert Kraft, who owns the New England Patriots, and a lot of folks in the Boston area would like to see on Monday Night Football next year.
Natron Means picks up 6.
I think they've earned their shot on our little primetime show.
Been a long time since a Monday night game has been televised from Foxborough.
We had
black and white.
Exciting moments at Foxborough. One of the reasons.
I think it was in black and white the last time we were there.
No, wait a minute.
Tough sideline go here for Barry Switzer.
Consumed by the pressure. Look at this.
A man involved in every aspect of his NFC game plan. And
is his daughter Kathy.
Yeah.
And Chris Warren of the Seahawks takes it into NFC territory and is rolled down at the 46. Aeneas Williams making the tackle. It's a 22-yard gain for Chris Warren.
Kathy Switzer, who maybe might have to follow up with a little coffee. Hey, I'll get you one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mainland.
Hi, Mainland.
Well, let's just hope Barry doesn't pull a Troy Aikman and stay to the end of the game here. Maybe he'll hang this one out.
First down at the NFC 45-yard line, and they run a reverse. Andre Reed takes it, but coming right in to bust up the play is Charles Haley. There it is.
There's a backup hot dog for Barry.
Spoils a victory.
The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
A good play by Haley. You don't fool him many times.
I think, really, we don't want to make fun of Barry. His back is probably hurting, and he had to go seek shelter on the bench, and he had to sit down because he's in excruciating agony standing up this entire contest. You're rolling your eyes again.
Second and 11 as Bledsoe throws, and it is almost intercepted by Aeneas Williams.
You've been giving me a lot of eye rollers.
Yeah, well, just giving Barry a way out because he chose to take it later. Aeneas Williams, who plays for Buddy Ryan's Arizona Cardinals. I guess the Barry watch is on. Michael, please come back.
Yep, Michael, long-term deal, baby.
Please accept that offer we gave you.
Yep.
I know we're going to lose Alvin. Yep. I can't lose you, too.
Try to tell Alvin to stay, Michael. Bledsoe throws, and it's intercepted by Dion.
Look out.
Well, this figures. He averaged 50 yards a run back on his 6 picks this season, and this one run back about 10. Flag is down. Ben Coates made the tackle. No, they picked it up. No penalty. It counts.
I think they're mad at the AFC for tackling him.
Yeah. 6:31 to go in the third. October 16th was a memorable day for Deion Sanders in the game between the Niners and the Falcons. He made this interception. That was the day, you'll recall, in which he got into that scuffle earlier in the game with Andre Rison. The pick here, a little styling down the sideline in front of his ex-teammates, 93 yards for a 49er touchdown. Deion Sanders, who has just picked one off here. Warren Moon is now in the game, and his first pass is incomplete. And speaking of Deion, here he is with Leslie.
Al, there are hours ahead of us on on the mainland, but it's prime time here. Congratulations on the interception.
Thank you. I had to do something for my mama back home, Tracy, my lady, the children, everybody. They wanted me to do a little something special.
Deion, there have been reports, Peter King talked about it at halftime, that Sega, the computer company, has offered you a $2 million bonus if you stay with the 49ers. Is it correct? And
I don't think that's correct. I mean, I've consummated a deal with Sega long before all this has come out. I mean, we've had a deal. See the scarf, Sega?
Will it convince you to stay with the 49ers?
I love San Francisco. I mean, it's nothing pretty much going to pull me away. It's only one team that got a shot at that, and everyone knows who that is.
Would you have to play on offense?
That's going to be a must. I got to do a little bit more. I want to earn every penny I make.
And that would also be with the Dolphins if you went there?
Oh, most definitely.
Well, congratulations to you, Deion.
Thanks. God bless everybody.
Thank you.
Kind of lost there was that was a great leaping interception. Bledsoe tried to get the ball to Coates. He threw it where I thought it was going to be a completion for a first down. Sanders is so quick.
3rd down and 6 now. Warren Moon completed his first season with the Minnesota Vikings from the 34 on 3rd and 6. Moon throwing in passes incomplete, intended for Barry Sanders. 5:39 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the AFC on top 17-13.
We talked about the number of times that Bledsoe put it up, almost 700. Well, Warren Moon in his first year in Minnesota, over 600 attempts on his part.
We saw Michael Dean Perry there for a second. We started to talk about him before. Just to finish that up, Cleveland left him unprotected. His desire would be to be selected by Carolina. He's building a house in Charlotte, but he said yesterday if he's not picked up by an expansion team, he'll probably wind up back in Cleveland. The punt is taken at the 18-yard line by Eric Metcalf, and Metcalf takes it back to the 35-yard line.
Deion Sanders watched that one from over on the AFC bench. He does march to his own drummer, or piper or something. Respite over there.
First down for the AFC, and Ben Coates hauls in the Drew Bledsoe pass. Look at that artwork.
Whoa. Someone put a lot of work into that one.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Please.
Looky here.
That was the, where did you get that? That was the Hula Bowl in January of 1971.
The old stadium here in Honolulu, number 72.
Yep. That was my only trip to that stadium. You've been there many times, Alan.
Old Termite Palace, 2nd down and 9. Marshall Faulk.
Oh, is this some running?
Yeah, it's like a coming out party for this guy. Had a sensational year with the Indianapolis Colts and getting some primetime exposure here. Well, Lynn Swann also made an appearance in the Hula Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl MVP. 3 of them, I think. Was it Lynn?
Yeah.
Lynn's going.
I don't have a monitor down here. Are you guys embarrassing me again?
No, that was a great shot of you.
Swanee, they showed our old Hula Bowl picture. Courtesy of what? P.P. Wakayama?
P.P. Wakayama, long time.
All right.
Long time photographer.
Look at this.
Marshall Faulk again. A pickup of 11 to the 30-yard line. Tackled by Deion Sanders. Frank, when were you here?
I don't know. At the turn of the century, I think.
Now, when was this, Frank?
No, I played in the Hula Bowl and played in 7 of the Pro Bowls. I don't know, that's one of them. Obviously, I got Ollie Matson's number. He must have had seniority or something.
Look at that form. Look at that style.
You mean somebody grabbed 16?
Pre-statehood.
Probably belonged to a quarterback.
Hawaii was just a territory.
I want to get a couple of Al's old radio calls.
Oh, terrific. First down for the AFC at the 30-yard line. 3.5 to go in the 3rd. And this time it is Warren. And they're picking up chunks through the middle, and Chris Warren takes it down to the 9-yard line. Tackled by Aeneas Williams. So Faulk and Warren having a field day on this drive.
Well, you know, Chris Warren just quietly had a great season with Seattle. He had over 1,800 yards rushing, 2nd in the league to Barry Sanders. This type of running, he's a big man, big and strong, 6'2" and about 230 pounds.
It is now 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Drew Bledsoe of the Patriots. Gives it to Warren, and he's tackled for a 2-yard loss by Charles Haley. Oh, no. Well, Hawaii's been a big part of all of our lives. Now, don't tell me Pepe got you that picture.
Oh, will you look at this.
You know, Vitalis was very big back then.
Look at
that's unbelievable.
Speaking of choir boys.
It's not.
Steve was born here, right?
Yes, my son.
You were here, what, 3 years?
3 years. Had a wonderful time. At the estate.
You look better now, Al.
Thank you. 2nd and goal. Chris Warren takes it down to the 5.
I think we all do.
And it will be 3rd down and goal. Barry Switzer, he's been here before.
This game's gotten so doggone exciting. Barry got up.
Yeah.
They're down around the goal line.
A quick look at the back of Ron Earhart. He's calling the offensive plays for the AFC. Of course, the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh. And there he is. One of the fine coaches in this league. Used to be the head coach in New England, the offensive coach for the Giants. And they won a couple of Super Bowls.
Bledsoe on 3rd and goal, and it's knocked away at the goal line. Jesse Tuggle of the Falcons.
That's not the role he ordinarily plays. He's the leading tackler for the Falcons for so many years. Made a fine move on the ball there and saved 6.
Looks like John Carney's going to get a shot to add to the AFC lead.
Try to make it a 7-point advantage. Carney led the league in scoring this year. Yeah.
Part-time employee of the Honolulu Chamber of Commerce.
23-yard attempt coming up now for John Carney. Rick Tootin puts it down for him, and the kick is good.
Must be a grueling week for a kicker at a Pro Bowl. How do they bear up?
Capital Cities ABC. Incorporated.
Publicly traded. New York Stock Exchange.
Right. AFC kicking off. John Carney sends a bouncing ball. A squibber down at the 12-yard line. Mel Gray runs into his own man and is stopped at the 25 with 1:26 left in the 3rd quarter. 20-13. Well, the next time we see you folks, it'll be from Canton, Ohio, the Hall of Fame game, which traditionally opens the preseason schedule. And
you better go to work in the rosters right now.
You bet. We've got Carolina and Jacksonville facing each other in the first game ever for each team next July.
Those two cities are so wound up about that game that they had camera crews at last year's game.
It's fun to watch it, isn't it?
Pretty wild day.
I just don't know how many people from Jacksonville and from the Carolinas are going to make that trip to Canton. They won't all be able to get tickets to the game. The city will be flooded, and it ought to be some festive scene. Greg Lloyd. You know, one of the problems Bill Cowher had in this game today, and appears to have overcome it, is that his linebackers, mainly Derek Thomas, Greg Lloyd, Kevin Green, are primarily pass rushing type of linebackers, and here they are in a game where they're not allowed to rush the passer. Lloyd probably spends more time in coverage. Kevin Green's the one who comes all the time, but basically these are guys whose forte is rushing the quarterback, and that's taken away from them here during this game.
Well, he's got a 55 in there that's pretty good against the run.
Yeah. Derek Thomas had 11 sacks this year. There's Kevin Green. He had 14. Greg Lloyd had 10. That's a whole bunch of sacks there. That's 35 sacks that are removed from this game because they're not allowed to rush the quarterback.
O'Neal, 12.5 sacks for O'Neal.
But at least he's allowed to rush the quarterback in this game.
They've romped on quarterbacks this year.
Warren Moon has his pass dropped by Terrence Mathis, and let's check in with Lynn Swan.
Thank you very much, Al. And I'm with Drew Bledsoe. He's got a different kind of haircut than the one we are thinking those pictures. But Drew, there are 30 guys who are in the Pro Bowl for their first time. Tell me about the experience for you. You're one of them.
Well, it's fun, and for me, it's kind of awe-inspiring, really. I mean, I'm 22 years old. A lot of these guys that I'm playing with have been my heroes growing up, so it's been fun. It'd be a lot more fun if Dion hadn't taken one of my passes, but I guess if it's got to be picked off, it should be him, I guess.
Was he one of your heroes?
Dion? No, he's still pretty young. He's still pretty young. He's one of my heroes now, though.
What have you learned when you're competing with these guys at practice and you're throwing to some of the best receivers in the league? Does it make you adjust your attitude in terms of what you feel you have to do as a team?
Well, yeah, when you play out here, you have to take your play to another level because you're playing with guys that are such great talent, have such great talent. So, you've been here, you know what that kind of talent is about, and you know what kind of plays these guys can make if you give them the ball. So that's really what I've learned. You've got to give them the ball.
First time I came to a Pro Bowl, I was pretty confident, but it seems like I got more confident when they gave me respect in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. If you come to the Pro Bowl and you've got these corners here and they're giving people respect, and if you come here as a quarterback and you look around, you got some of these old guys, and they'll look you in the eye and listen to you and so on. It does help your confidence. So.
You guys had a tremendous year. Bill Parcells was doing more throwing, and people always felt Bill Parcells was the guy who didn't want to put it in the air. Will you continue along those lines?
Well, I think that if we're going to be a real contender, we've got to be able to run the ball better than we did this year. I think that we will continue to throw it because we've got great weapons, but we do have to run the ball more consistently to be a real contender.
As you said, you're only 22, but you've helped turn this football team around. The pressure of the city, expecting more, have you thought about that?
Yeah, they are. They're expecting more. Every time you have some success, people just expect more. Look at what happened in Dallas. They win 2 Super Bowls. They come through this year, have a great year, but lose the championship game, and now all of a sudden everybody hates them and all this stuff. But, our expectations are just as high. We expect to win a division championship this year, and I think that's what our fans expect also.
Drew, thank you very much. Good luck to you.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Did you see that 2-shot when they started out together, Drew Bledsoe and Lynn Swann? Swanee, it looked like you were either standing in a hole or he's on some kind of a box.
He's 6'5". He's a big man.
That is one big quarterback.
And what an arm.
It is 3rd and 11 now for the NFC. They just took a timeout. Earlier you saw Seau stop Bettis on the 2nd down play, and now Warren Moon retreats in the final minute of the 3rd quarter and throws incomplete. Double coverage on Ricky Waters that time. And it'll be 4th down.
And a good play by Derek Thomas, the outside linebacker. We talked about his pass rushing abilities. That time he was in the coverage and handled it very well. He was right with Waters step for step, and he wouldn't let Waters turn up to take the ball. What a great player. 6 consecutive Pro Bowls for Derek Thomas.
There might be a few hits in this game also beyond the 5-yard chuck zone. There might be a little tapping going on downfield.
Oh, yes.
Reggie Roby sends a bomb down to the 19-yard line. Tim Brown brings it back to the 32-yard line. That's a 56-yard Roby boot and a 13-yard run back with 19 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Well, we think back a week. Miami, Joe Robbie Stadium. Jerry Rice had scored the opening touchdown, and then Ricky Waters takes this pass over the middle, and the route was on. Ricky Waters and the 49ers winning it 49-26.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot more ahead for this number 32, Ricky Waters. The 49ers really moving into the pass scheme this year. He had more yardage receiving than any other running back, and what a threat he is on the run. The complete football player out of the backfield.
Here's Jeff Hostetler in this quarterback rotation now for the AFC. He's in the game, and he hands the ball off to Marshall Faulk. He's tackled up at the 34-yard line, and it will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. So that's the end of 3 at Aloha Stadium in Honolulu, with the AFC leading the NFC 20-13. Back with the Pro Bowl after this word from our ABC Stadium.
Welcome to the revolution. Tonight, Steven Seagal and Tommy Lee Jones in the network television premiere of Under Siege. Parental discretion advised.
Primetime now on Wednesday. Is somebody dumping poison in your backyard? Before you say no, you better watch Primetime. Hidden cameras catch them red-handed dumping deadly chemicals where kids play. You do. Primetime, Wednesday.
We're still using that passive display? It's not broke.
Welcome to an Ameritech testing town.
You gonna finish that? Guess not.
One of several real towns here in the Midwest where people try out real breakthroughs in communications technology.
Hello?
Charlie?
Hello? If a product doesn't make it out of here, it doesn't make it out.
Darn buttons are too small.
Hey, Lester, see how the fish are biting.
All right.
Video activate. Turtle Lake. They are.
Separate checks, guys?
I'll get it.
At Ameritech,
Anyone know how to make this thing stop flashing 12?
we believe that if technology doesn't work for people,
Thanks.
it doesn't work. Ameritech, your link to better communication.
A Muncie murder victim was so well liked that police are swamped with possible leads, plus a preview of why some parents don't pay child support at 11. Reaching out to juvenile delinquents' parents at 11.
Coming up next, the network premiere of Under Siege. Steven Seagal, Tommy Lee Jones. Except on the West Coast, where you'll see it at 9 o'clock.
Well, you're talking tough. Steven Seagal, he is tough. He gets just about everyone in this one.
Start the fourth quarter as Jeff Hostetler goes back to pass and throws incomplete, intended for Eric Metcalf. And let's check in with Leslie Visser.
Al, after you three in the booth, I think I'm with the most popular person here in the stadium, hometown boy Jesse Sapolo. Jesse, what's it like to come back and play in the Pro Bowl at another position this time?
Well, you can't ask for anything more. Winning the World Championship and then coming here and ending it in your hometown, you know, that's something special for me. I'm a little nicked up from the Super Bowl, but, you know, this is home, and I'm trying my best to go out there and perform for the people.
You've said that this is the best offense you think you've ever played on. That's quite a statement.
Well, we've had some great offenses over the years with the 49ers, but I think the numbers speak for itself this year.
Well, congratulations to you, and you're going for a 5th Super Bowl ring, aren't you?
Well, that'll be something special for me next year, and hopefully with the blessings from the man upstairs, we can get it.
Best of luck. Thank you.
Good guy, Jesse Sapolo, as Eric Green makes the catch on a 3rd and 7 and is very close to a first down up at the 43-yard line.
What's really nice about Jesse being in this game, Leslie touched on the fact that, you know, he played here at the University of Hawaii, but last year he's on the Pro Bowl squad as the starting center for the 49ers. This year the 49ers get Bart Oates, so Jesse Sapolo slides over to guard and makes the Pro Bowl squad as a guard. Back-to-back Pro Bowls in 2 different positions. That's quite an accomplishment for Jesse.
Interesting, too, his former high school teammate, University of Hawaii player, also Mark Tuaney, made his first Pro Bowl from the Dallas Cowboys. So teammates back together again.
Chris Warren on a first down play, and the Seattle Seahawk running back takes it all the way down to the 29-yard line. Seeing Warren and Falk having a brilliant second half. 29-yard run for Chris Warren.
That's a lot of football player. Chris Warren, he had the Seattle Seahawks with a tough season, but he had a great season, over 1,800 yards rushing, and we got a good look at it a moment ago. He's big and he's strong.
There's Mark Tuaney sitting on the NFC bench.
Is that high school, Al? Punahou.
Punahou. Well, to play 12 years in the National Football League and then get your first shot at a Pro Bowl, good things are worth waiting for. I think Mark Tuaney will be the first one to tell you that.
Here's Falk. Oh, look at Marshall Falk. All the way down to the 10-yard line. It's the next Barry Sanders.
No, you're looking at some big-time running here in the second half by the AFC, and throughout the first half for this youngster, Marshall Falk. 21 years old. He'll be 22 3 weeks from today.
Well, he's had a few big games in this stadium. He's more comfortable with this stadium than most of the people here. He used to come over here with San Diego State and play the Hawaii Rainbows, and he's had a couple monster games over here. Of course, this guy redefined monster games in college. He had a couple 300-yard plus games, did he not?
Yes, he did.
He was amazing and continues to be amazing. Here's Chris Warren on 1st and 10 from just outside the 10, going in for the touchdown. Broke a Darren Woodson tackle.
He broke a couple of them.
And the AFC increases its advantage.
Chris Warren, he did not get that much national exposure this year. The Seahawks struggling the past couple of years, but he had a great season, and you can see why here. A little burst to the outside. Big man. Slips away from a couple of would-be tacklers there.
Bruce Armstrong out in front doing a good job blocking. Leroy Horde, the fullback of the Brownies. likewise.
Chris
And
Warren.
another pressure-packed kick here for John Carney.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Warren bidding for player of the game honors. 9 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. And Woodson shaken up on the NFC sideline. Extra point is good. 12:29 to go in the fourth. AFC up by 14.
People come out to try to catch a wave. I take a look outside at about 6:45 this morning, and there must have been 100 people already out there bobbing in the waves.
They were out there last night about 6:45.
Hanging out there by the reef. Diamond Head in the background there to the right.
Beautiful place.
Yep. It's great. What a great way to spend the day. You take the board out there.
Bartos came over from the Giants, a free agent, and got himself back in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Will he play again? I think he will.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Mel Gray now out past the 20.
I think there's some question about Bartos and whether or not he was going to come back. You know, he just wrapped up year number what here? Year number 10 in the NFL, and he's a guy that, you know, he's a lawyer. He could do a lot of different things. Just cashed a Super Bowl check. Asked him yesterday. He's definitely coming back. The 49ers want me. He said, I'll be back.
He made it possible for Jesse Cipolla to move from center to guard. And as you said, if he doesn't come back, it's kind of an easy transition. They move Cipolla back to center, but I agree. I think he will be back. He had a fun year there.
It's the unheralded part of the 49er football team is how dominating their offensive line can be. They certainly were in the Super Bowl.
Moon hits Darryl Johnston up at the.
And when
36.
you consider you got Bartos and Cipolla, their 2 best players aren't even here. The 2 best players on the 49er offensive line are Steve Wallace and Harris Barton.
Here's how Bart prepared for this encounter.
Bart showing off those hours in the sun. I hope you had a little copper tone on there, Bart, or this tropical sun will get you in a hurry.
We'll pay for it next week. 2nd and 5. Moon throws. Catch is made by Chris Carter. Carter to Moon. Familiar ring in the Twin Cities this year. Or Moon to Carter. 3rd down and 1. .11:25 remaining in the fourth quarter. The NFC took an early 10-0 lead. It took the AFC about a quarter to wake up, but they did wake up, and they lead 27-13. 3rd and 1. Jerome Bettis for about a yard. Very close to a first down. Darren Woodson Darren Woodson is shaken up, and there he is, Darren Woodson on the NFC sideline. And you know, it is a contact sport, and you forget guys get hurt in this game. In fact, last year Brent Jones broke his ankle in this game.
Dan was just telling me about a foot injury he had in the Pro Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah, it was more than a few years ago, but it happens, and it's a concern. And let's face it, the more players make, the more that's at risk. And that's why I admire these guys for coming and playing in this game. It's how much they enjoy being selected that they still actively support this game.
Moon. Oh, and hit hard out of bounds. Leslie O'Neal after Bruce Smith had done the chasing.
You know, I think Warren probably forgot the rule here in the Pro Bowl. You can throw the ball away anywhere you want to throw it away.
I think it's safe to say that, Frank. I don't think he needed to take that sack. He didn't need to take the hit.
Probably dawning on him just about now. I didn't need to do any of that.
No, this was a faux pas by Mr. Moon here. He could have dumped this ball at any time. Even at 38 years old, still have a lapse every now and then. Maybe you start to have them more often.
That's the problem.
I wonder if Bledsoe would have gotten rid of that ball.
Timeout is taken by the NFC with exactly 10 minutes to play, and the AFC leading by 14.
Ever seen one of these? No, you haven't, because this is the future of television. A tiny satellite dish that receives something new called DirecTV. Now, for those of us who aren't rocket scientists, here's how it works. Every time I turn on the TV, I find something I feel like watching. Let's say I feel like a movie. Oh, do I drive to a video store? No, I stay right where I am. DirecTV is my video store. The hit movies I want start every 30 minutes. Let's say I feel like sports. I get hundreds of pro and college games I couldn't before. And cable networks? I've got everything I want. Everything. And DirecTV is digital. You can get great picture, CD sound, so even that fancy TV set you've been bragging about could look a lot better. And where is DirecTV? In some dream about the information superhighway? Nope. It's in my living room right now. Get your DSS 18-inch dish and DirecTV at your RCA or satellite TV dealer.
The all-new Lincoln Continental is so technologically advanced, you control it with the press of a button. Equally as impressive is that with the press of a button, its exclusive 12-function memory profile system sets everything back to where it was.
Your Lincoln.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
The new Lincoln Continental with a 32-valve V8 Intex system, the perfect balance of luxury and technology.
America's new Queen of the Ice will be crowned in the ladies' final of the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships, Saturday night on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Oh, man. Capacity crowd. They're having a lot of fun here in Honolulu today on a cloudy day, but the sun breaking through here in mid-afternoon.
No. Let's get off that.
Oh, man.
Proud of my lady.
Yep.
She killed it.
Well, 10 minutes left in the game, and barring overtime, 10 minutes left in the season, as it were. And let's check in with Swanee. What you got, Lynn?
Well, I got Chris Warren here, Al. Chris, you've got 103 yards. You're the only third back in 25 years to go over 100 yards in this Pro Bowl. Did you know that?
Well, that's news to me. I mean, I didn't know I had that many yards. I feel comfortable running the offense, and it feels like I was running for a while, but I didn't know I had that kind of a day today.
You're also feeling pretty tired running those special teams, getting your wind on the bench.
Yeah, I haven't done this since 1990, so I'm, getting a little reminder of what special teams is about, and that's really how I made it in the league is on special teams.
So keep rolling. You're close to a record. Matter of fact, I talked to Earhart, the offensive coordinator for the Steelers. He says he's going to get him that record, Al.
Well, I'll tell you, another guy's got a chance at that record is Marshall Faulk. His teammate Herman Moore makes the catch here on a 2nd and 23. O.J. Simpson holds the Pro Bowl record for most rushing yards in the game, 112 back in 73. Then Marv Hubbard, 104 and 74. Warren today, 103, and Faulk today, 90.
You think of all the great backs that have played in this game, you get an idea that this turns into a passing game rather than a running game, because when the record is 112 yards, you think of all the great names that have played in this game. That's kind of unusual.
Well, between Warren and Faulk, they have 193 yards. My MVP of the game has to be the offensive line of the AFC. When two backs are doing that, it's because the guys up front are doing it for them.
All right, 3rd and 10, and the pass is a little high, and Herman Moore can't bring it in.
You always get around to those nameless, faceless guys up front, don't you?
No, Frank. Sometimes you teeter right on the edge.
That's
they ought to get the credit. They ought to get the credit. They got two backs that are doing this.
They have done a job, though, coming together, all from different teams. You got a couple of backs with almost 200 yards.
Oh, now you're agreeing with me.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I just thought I'd just give you a little nudge there. It's getting late in the game.
There's Reggie Roby to punt. Sends it down trade wind. Picked up at the 10-yard line. And Brown hands the ball to Eric Metcalf on a reverse. And Eric is out of bounds up at the 27-yard line. 9:11 left in regulation. 27-13, American Conference.
The all-new Lincoln Continental has an exclusive system that lets you change the way it handles. At the push of a button, you choose the ideal suspension and steering settings to more precisely handle whatever the road presents. An attribute for which the Ming Dynasty is eternally grateful. The all-new Lincoln Continental with the V8 Intex system, the perfect balance of luxury and technology.
My,
What big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with, my dear.
And what big eyes you have.
The better to see you with, my dear.
Real red, real smooth. Red Wolf.
My, what big teeth you have. What are they for? Oh, my.
Follow your instincts.
In the middle of my workday, I don't do power lunches. I do power lifts. And when you work out this hard, better use a deodorant that works hard too and never quits. That's why I use Speed Stick. It gives me 110% protection that lasts all day. And fortunately, all night. Because while I may not have time for lunches, I always manage to find some time for dinner.
Speed Stick, like you, it never quits.
By Menon.
Redford, Phoenix, and Poitiers.
There isn't a government on this planet that wouldn't kill us all for that thing.
The network premiere of Sneakers, Monday on ABC.
Back in Aloha Stadium with perhaps the most important person here, Terry Lowe, the NFL's Teacher of the Year. You taught Steve Young calculus at Greenwich High School. What kind of a student was he?
Steve was a great student. He really dug into everything that we put forth to him.
Was there anything you could see that you could apply calculus to football?
Oh, definitely. His ability to analyze situations is definitely there. He also indicates that the study habits that he gained at Greenwich High School have been a big asset to him.
And knowing him brought you your first trip to Hawaii.
Yes, and I'd like to thank Steve a lot for nominating me for this award and the NFL for having this wonderful program for teachers.
Well, it's a tremendous honor. Maybe you could do stats for us up in the booth.
I'd love to sometime.
Thank you.
I know one thing, Leslie, you have to have studied calculus to figure out the NFL quarterback rating system.
And I know he can use those math skills to apply them to his checkbook, which is ever bulging. Steve Young, the highest paid player in the National Football League.
Yeah, Greenwich High School has a lot of longevity with their administration. His high school coach, Mike Ornato, was there for over 25 years, and Chris Warren has broken O.J. Simpson's record.
Marshall Falk wants to know, what about me? He's still in the running here if he can get back in the game with 90 yards. And Warren gets congratulated, and Marshall is back in the game. So we've got a little battle within the battle going on here. And let's see what Marshall Falk can do as he has picked up 20, 30, 40, 41 yards from Marshall Falk. There's your new record.
That's the shortest held record in Pro Bowl history. Chris Warren was the rushing leader for one play.
He's coming back in.
Here comes Warren.
Ron Earhart, the offensive coordinator, I think is more amused by this than anything else.
Well, I know we are.
Yeah.
There you go.
There it is.
From 90 to 131 in one felt swoop.
So Falk has the mark for the moment, but stay tuned.
And your offensive line is doing quite a job.
Yeah, I'm telling you, these guys are MVPs.
Bruce Armstrong, Duval Love, Damani Dawson, Keith Sims, Richmond Webb, Gary Zimmerman, Kevin Gogan, Bruce Matthews, the offensive line for the AFC.
And they're acting like they're all in there at the same time.
Yes.
You named all 8 of them, and sometimes it looks like they're all playing at the same time.
4-yard gain for Warren. Let's check in with Swanee.
Talk about a short record. Marshall, you just slammed Chris Warren.
Yeah, but I think he's about to get the record back. You know, it's great to see two people on the same team competing for it. And, you know, I'm hoping him a great game, but I want to have a better one.
Well, this has got to be a great experience for you, your first Pro Bowl. You're dunked.
Yeah, it's real great. It's a great way to start off my career with a great Pro Bowl game. And I'm having fun. And we're winning, so what more could you ask for?
Well, guys, it's going to go back and forth. I don't know who's going to end up with the record at the end of the ball game, but that'll be fun watching.
He goes to the air. They go for a touchdown to Eric Green.
That's his second touchdown of the game.
16 yards.
Eric Green caught a touchdown pass in the second quarter, and now he's back. What a deal here. This is quite an offensive show being put on by the AFC. Take that, you NFC, for winning a couple Super Bowls on us.
It was off play action, which really caught the NFC. I think that they were caught up in I think they were aware that there was kind of a duel going on between Falk and Warren. And they were thinking, run, get a little play action, Green's wide open.
Well, I know one thing. We got 6 minutes and 43 seconds left in this ball game, and while there's normally not a lot of drama late in a Pro Bowl, this Chris Warren Marshall Faulk duel is pretty doggone interesting.
Carney for the point after. It is now the AFC 34, the NFC 13. Break up the AFC.
Yeah, so I tell you what, if you got some friends, go call them up. Tell them to watch the end of this ball game here. They don't want to miss a piece of history.
I mean, offensive linemen, they get aware of this, don't they? I mean, they're caught up in it, aren't they?
The offensive linemen, they don't have anything else to get caught up in. Darn right they're aware of this. I mean, look at them all out there. There's a whole bunch of high-fiving and slapping going on with the AFC guys there.
It really is an interesting experience to be part of a Pro Bowl team. You get to know players. I still have friends, close friends that I met at Pro Bowls that I played in, and you get to meet players and you get to know them in an entirely different way than you ever would on the field. And here's Marshall Faulk on his record-breaking scamper.
Well, Merton Hanks was the first NFC player to even make contact with Faulk, and that was about 12 yards downfield. Aeneas Williams finally brought him down, and what's he get? A mini dunking from Brian Cox. He spared him the entire bucket. He just gave him a 12-ouncer.
Just a cup.
Yeah.
The other
Brian's
thing about
cup runneth over.
Pro Bowl, and you've heard all the players talk about it. Right now, it's almost a part of your bio, anymore. And when they talk about how you've done in pro football, they usually one of the first things they refer to is how many Pro Bowls that you've been in.
Oh, yeah. Big Kevin Gogan right there, another one of the offensive linemen. 34-13.
NFC early on was dominant in the first quarter. They led 10-0. A bouncing kick. Mill Gray from the 9.
Look out.
And he just did get
Terry
McDaniel.
Terry McDaniel saved it all.
The Raider cornerback, and let's check in with Lynn Swan.
Their second touchdown catch.
Oh, yes, I'm just grateful that Ron Airheart called that play. We run the ball very well, and these guys in the play action just killed them there.
What do you think of the young talent that's come into this league? A lot of guys in the Pro Bowl for the first time.
Oh, yes, I think a lot of guys that's in this Pro Bowl was guys that earned their way here, not by reputation, by the hard work they displayed on the field this year.
Okay. We're going to have a lot more offense going because Bill Cowell came over and he said, well, how many more yards does Chris Warren need to break Marshall Faulk's record?
I told Chris if he was playing in Pittsburgh, he'd play like this every game.
Every game?
Every game.
Okay.
But I want to say one thing. The first one for my mom, the second one for my boys in Savannah, Georgia.
All right, thank you.
All right, Swanee, here is a reverse to Deion Sanders who's in on offense, and Brian Cox will celebrate, I guarantee you.
He's doing his Deion Sanders shuffle.
So they called Deion's number on a reverse, and Brian Cox smells it out. Last week, remember, Deion did get in offensively. They put him in the game after the 49ers had taken a big lead, and Steve Young went right for him. But it was broken up. And here, a 6-yard loss on a reverse. Meanwhile, Steve Young back in the game, down by 21 points. Throws incomplete, intended for Brent Jones. It'll be 3rd down and 16 with 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. 34-13, the AFC on top. Rushing to the 331 for the AFC. Faulk and Warren.
Yeah, it's really unusual that you can run that well because it takes so much more effort, so much more timing to run the football than it does to throw the football, and consequently you tend to throw it all the time.
Pass incomplete here, intended for Chris Carter. Let's not forget Natron Means had a couple of long runs to help supplement that total, and Leroy Horde as well for the AFC.
You know what I don't think we have seen the entire game has been a pass interference call. Not that we missed it.
Nor do we want to see one.
No, the absence of flags is always one of the big pluses of a Pro Bowl.
There's a game breaker if you.
The red jersey and the orange helmet, though, serious fashion clash. Doesn't get it.
Reggie Roby
kind you can bring back.
Yep, Metcalf will from the 18-yard line all the way back to the 35-yard line. Bryce Pop in there.
Down 34-13. A little strategy consultation going on. And the duel will continue between Chris Warren and Marshall Faulk.
And they have Warren in the game right now with 5:28 remaining, and the AFC comfortably in front by 21.
What's our yardage difference here between the two?
We'll get it for you right up to the minute. 131 for Marshall Faulk and 118 for Chris Warren.
They need 14 to take the lead, huh?
And this is Leroy Horn. Well, he wants to get into the action again, and he's out of bounds up at the 47-yard line.
The NFC front seven not turning in a stellar performance here this afternoon. The AFC pretty much running this football at will.
Here's the story right now with Marshall Faulk having set the record, but Chris Warren
13 to tie, 14 to go out front.
And Jeff Hostetler has asked for and received a timeout. 5:04 remaining in the fourth quarter. Well, we've had a chance today to visit with the new Hall of Famers and also two honored posthumously. Jim Finks, the longtime administrator, most recently the president of the New Orleans Saints, who passed away last year, and Henry Jordan, who passed away several years ago, began his career with Cleveland, but really made his mark with those great Green Bay Packer teams in the 60s.
Played in, what, 7 NFL championships?
I know Jim Finks here this afternoon was represented by his son and Henry Jordan by his widow. And those are always good news, bad news situations come July in Canton, Ohio. Certainly they're bittersweet. Your loved one being honored, but by the same token, they're not here to enjoy it in person. Big Charles.
Charles Haley.
An interesting man.
I don't think he'll be riding his Harley into the sunset quite yet.
Nope. He'll continue to terrorize quarterbacks, in our estimation. John Randall makes the stop. Chris Warren losing a couple. Jack O'Hara has been our executive producer. Ken Big Bad Wolf is our producer, wrapping up a fabulous year.
On his way returning to the scene of his wedding of a year ago over in Maui.
As always,
Patty.
Craig Janoff.
Craig Janoff directing the best there is.
Yep, you bet. Steve Laxton is our TD today. Ben Harvey, our associate producer, working around the clock to help bring you all the action this weekend.
Literally, he was working around the clock.
Jaime Bravo, our associate director. Good year with Jaime.
Second down and 12 from the 45-yard line, and Chris Warren breaks his way down to the 48 of the NFC. And some of the other folks, Ed McKenna and the gang, helping to bring you the final telecast of, well, what is the 1994 season on this sixth day. Fred King Kamehameha, our guy, the king of the package, and Brian Gordon. Steve Hurt, as always, our unparalleled director of information.
Freddie King, after 4 years working with us here on Monday night, is moving on and moving up.
Yep.
Fred, why don't we give him a title and keep him?
You bet.
Fred, if we could, we'd keep you forever. But you're too good for us. You're leaving us.
And you know it. Third down and 4. And there's a gain of 3 up the middle for Chris Warren. It'll be 4th and 1. Jack Del Rio in on the tackle.
Oh, interesting decision here, too, on 4th and 1. Got yourself a big lead. You get yourself a first down. You've almost got the game locked up. You put the punting unit in. Yep. We talked it over, but out comes the punter.
Bill Cowher did tell us that he's got a few fake punts. That would, well, I don't know that he would make an enemy. I don't think anybody gets at this stage of things. I don't think there's going to be a feud, but Marshall Falk.
But they're missing
is
the
the up
people
back
right now. Oh, here we go.
Well, AFC's going to take a timeout here as they're trying to get the right people in. Junior Seau, a late arrival.
Brian Cox called timeout just in time. They were down to 1 second on the play clock.
Junior was fashionably late in arriving.
Well, Junior's not on a whole lot of punting teams, I don't believe.
I want to thank our booth crew, Andrea Bryan, all year long, keeping this kennel in order. George Hill handling the stats, and Kaka'ako Kelly Hayes handling the.
Pardon me?
That's the name of a town on Oahu. Mark Amento and Brian Movelson also helping out, as always, through the course of the season. Computer work and graphics. Bill Monahan, our sideline coordinator. And
let him go, Billy.
Gang will reconvene in Canton, Ohio in about 6 months. The ribs burn off. An annual treat in Canton, Ohio.
Doesn't seem like long ago we were there getting this 25th anniversary edition of things started.
And we'll be back. He will wrap up next year with our coverage of the 26th year of Monday Night with the Pro Bowl.
Good to be back.
And the year after that,
Yeah.
This is a fun week.
Great to be here.
I'm not going home till I talk to the weatherman.
So you check the Farmer's Almanac.
We got a change of heart, Al. They are going to go on 4th down, at least maybe to try and draw them offside. Perhaps with a long count. Nope.
Well, whatever they did, it looked like Hostetler with that shoulder hunch may have precipitated the whistle.
Well, you get that early flag, and normally that's a false start or some infraction on the offense.
False start prior to the snap. Number 67. 5 yards, still 4th down.
Duval Love.
Oh, and that's it. That's it for going for it on 4th down, rather. This will definitely be a kicking situation. Rootin' Tootin' comes out to do the boot. Away we go.
He's hooting and hollering all the way.
That's been a long year, hasn't it?
It has. Oh, there goes that fake.
And Marshall Falk, look at this. Marshall Falk setting a record that may never be broken.
Bill Cowher loved it. He told us he had it in the play. Dan mentioned it a moment ago. Boy, that's a tough call there.
Oh, boy, I tell you what, a couple NFC coaches out on the field. They're even waving the white flag over there. Oh, Bill Cowher. Look at the NFC coaches. They're out on the field.
Barry Switzer walked out onto the field.
Oh, yeah.
Shaking a finger across the Bill Cowher.
I don't know if Barry's up, if he's putting on a show or what. Joe Avizano there. Well, Barry's laughing about it.
It's pretty obvious. Cowher would not have done that had not Falk broken the record and had a chance to set a mark. Now with 180 yards, this may last forever in a Pro Bowl game.
What a move by Marshall Falk along the sideline. What a move to stay in bounds.
And E.S. Williams, the intending tackle. He also chucked off Tim McDonald. What a performance by this youngster.
Well, Switzer's out on the field again. I think he's just...
I think he wants to congratulate Falk.
Yeah.
It is 41-13. The AFC has rushed for 400 yards today.
Unbelievable. Look at this body control by Marshall. He's going to make his break to the sideline right here. 35's Aeneas Williams. Williams doesn't wrap him up. Obviously a poor effort by Williams, but still nice control by Falk to not go out of bounds.
Almost looked like he was patting him on the fanny. Congratulations.
Well, I think Marshall just one player of the game with that move.
Okay. Oh, I am so smart.
Well, it almost had
guy having a good time.
He talked about it yesterday, and you could see that little sly little smile. He knew he wanted to do it.
Look at this, 307 yards rushing between two players, Falk and Warren.
And 93 more by the other guys. 400 yards on the ground.
3 weeks from being 22 years old, Marshall Falk setting an incredible mark here in the Pro Bowl.
This record will stand for a while.
It will.
because you have to have them share the load in the Pro Bowl, so it's not as if 180 is surpassable clearly in a regular season game. It's like a team mark, but in the Pro Bowl, you're trying to get everybody into the action, and this one will be around for a while.
How many 400-yard rushing games have you ever had in the NFL? Kenny Wolf, 5, he told us.
5 in the history of the league. Mel Gray brings it back out to the 34-yard line.
Oh, come on. Here we go, baby.
There hasn't been one, we're being told, since 19 double nickel 55. The Bears posted 400 plus.
I'd like to know against whom.
We'll get that in a minute.
The NFC Pro Bowl team.
I was going to say the Cardinals.
Oh, Green Bay.
Frank, we're going to have a problem. You keep this up.
Oh, no, it's all in jest.
Yeah.
They used to have those great games. When they were all in Chicago.
That's it. Try to get yourself out of this one out there.
Marshall Faulk and a little child shall lead them. The only rookie, the youngest player in the game. And Bettis takes it up to the 40-yard line. Tackled there by Lloyd.
NFC's working on the clock now.
A little colt shall lead the flock.
Yep. Marshall Faulk. You'll be hearing a lot about him through the years. Fabulous year, and he's wrapping it up with a tremendous performance in the Pro Bowl. We're at the 2-minute warning, but don't tell the clock operator. We'll be back.
Two on the 50, please. 30. End zone? You got anything in the end zone?
I told you we couldn't get Super Bowl tickets the day of the game.
All right. Let's just take a break and we'll eat our Big Macs, okay?
Captain Procrastinator.
Oh, yeah, that hurts.
Did I hear you guys need tickets? Here, you can have mine. Kind of in the middle of something.
Okay, Mike. Through the tunnel, off Leslie Visser's head, nothing but net.
This is probably Michael's private entrance.
Oh, hey. Wonder where this goes.
Coming through. Hey, look, it's Officer Orchestra. Hey, Tommy Tuba, how are you?
My team, call it in the air.
Corner.
The defensive line of the San Francisco 49ers has got to put pressure on the quarter. What was that?
Now, these are good seats.
That's right. I told you we'd get to the Super Bowl, Dr. Doubting Thomas.
Best burgers in the world, best seats in the house.
No, it's like we're right in the middle of the game. Hey, these are great seats. Helmet head. Yeah, Michael's really lucky.
There are cars known for their luxury. And there are cars known for their technology. Now there's a car with the perfect balance of both. The all-new Lincoln Continental with the V8 Intech system. The perfect balance of luxury and technology.
2 minutes to go in the Pro Bowl. The AFC dominant 41-13 after the NFC had taken an early 10-0 lead, but Marshall Faulk and Chris Warren have been super, and let's check in with Lynn Swann. Swanee?
Thank you, Al. Marshall, congratulations. 180 yards, a new Pro Bowl record for rushing, and you are the MVP.
Hey, it feels great to come over here as a first-year player and get the MVP.
I know we imagine and try and dream of a lot of good things, but did you dream this?
Well, I tried to real hard, but I never seemed to pick up the dream, but it happened in reality, so I'll take it.
A lot of these guys you watched playing professional football when you were in college. You get over here, you think the sense of a first guy Pro Bowler coming into this game is you want to show these guys what you can do?
Well, I wanted to show them that I really could play, and I think a lot of the players that are here voted me to be here also, and they respected me, and they treated me pretty nice through practice, through the week of practice, and they made me feel comfortable. So I came out here and performed to the best that I can.
I'll let you in on a little secret. While we're standing here on the sidelines and you were in the ball game, a number of players came up to me and said, Marshall Faulk is the best running back I've seen in a long time. Nothing but praise for you.
Well, I thank all those guys who see me like that, and I have the same respect for those players.
Marshall's a great show. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Well, the thing about Marshall Faulk, when he came out of college, everybody knew he was fabulous, but some people denigrated the quality of the opposition, even though San Diego State for years has turned in some tremendous performances against top teams around the country. And clearly Marshall Faulk, a couple of teams that passed on him might be wishing things had turned out differently in the draft last year.
It'd be hard to find those people right now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Steve Young going deep. Incomplete, intended for Terrence Mathis.
Dale Carter, good coverage.
Yep. Very good coverage by Carter.
Stride for stride.
Don't you love a guy that plays the game with a smile on his face like Steve Young?
He's got a lot to smile about, doesn't he?
I still think the offensive line of the AFC should have been given serious consideration.
Well, I know. I saw your vote.
Hi, Austin.
Third down and one.
Well, Deion Sanders flanked to the left. Is he going to run a fly pattern?
Sure.
Is there any doubt?
Why not? Go to him. Makes the catch. Tackled by Seau. I mentioned a couple of teams passed. I think just one team passed on Falk because last year Cincinnati had the #1 pick. And they went for Big Daddy in the draft.
And they're not going to run another play. That's going to be it.
And then Indy did take Marshall. He was the second guy chosen in the draft and the MVP of this game. And this comes to an end in Honolulu. The AFC beats the NFC 41-13. And we'll talk to you in July from Canton, Ohio. Until then, it's Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Leslie Visser, and Lynn Swan saying aloha from Honolulu.
ABC Sports exclusive coverage of the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl has been brought to you by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of Lincoln luxury automobiles, McDonald's, the official restaurant of the National Football League, and Red Wolf Lager, really red, really smooth, follow your instincts. Saturday, ABC's Wide World of Sports presents afternoon and special primetime coverage of the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Now, Steven Seagal, Tommy Lee Jones in the network television premiere of Under Siege. Parental discretion advised. Coming up next and later on the West Coast. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
A promotional fee has been paid by Northwest Airlines with 43,000 people proudly serving the world and you.
Some people just know how to fly.
The American Broadcasting Company, ABC.
You know, I could sit up here all day telling you about Hardee's new Hot Melts 2 for $2 deal. Any 2 hot melts for $2. Choose from Hardee's tasty hot ham and cheese, or that juicy mushroom and Swiss burger. And my favorite, the piled high roast beef and cheddar. But I'm not sitting up here all day. I'm gonna go get my own.
Hardee's Hot Melts. Any 2, just $2.
Anybody down there?
For a hot breakfast deal, get 2 Frisco breakfast sandwiches for just $2.
Kids have a very special relationship with Dodge Caravan. You see, they are the #1 passengers in America's #1 selling minivan, which is why Caravan has always pioneered the kind of features that help ensure that every child gets from here to there as safely as possible. And now with $500 cash back on select Caravans, we're going to make Dodge Caravan America's #1 kids ride at your house.
The 6 News team moving ahead at 5:30.
Just when you think you've seen it all.
Surprise!
5:30 news. Now you won't miss a thing.
Barbara Lewis, James Adams.
If it's breaking news, we're there.
Live and local.
Nobody in town does it like this. Here we go. Move ahead with the 6 News team now at 5:30.
That's 5:30.
Hi, I'm Trev Alberts. Give your old vehicle to Prevent Blindness. It's auctioned and it's tax deductible. Call Prevent Blindness and make Wheels for Sight a real sight saver.
Reaching out to juvenile delinquents' parents at 11.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion